was at Disney World, actually.
Saturday night's all right for fighting, but Saturday afternoon is all right for racing. Welcome back, everybody, to Vidane TV. Your host here, Showtime, Paul Strickland Jr. in the production trailer, pushing all the buttons and watching all the screens, making the magic happen right there in front of your face. Up here with a three-man booth, Dylan Langile, Kyle Young, and Rowdy Wesley Hogue up here to call the action for the Petty Raceway eSeries finale here at New Smyrna Speedway in New Smyrna Beach, Florida. I don't know why I always think it's in California. I guess it's kind of the same thing. But thank you so much for joining us here on YouTube and Facebook Live. Couple of quick shout outs here. Want to say hi to everybody. Say hi to Brent who's watching in Harvey Station, New Brunswick. Say hi to Sean, who's watching from Halifax, Nova Scotia. Easy enough for me to say. And Dan Suggs watching, Brent Suggs from Mooresville, North Carolina. So definitely join us in the chat, both Facebook and YouTube. We'll be monitoring that all afternoon, all morning long. It is early here on a Saturday afternoon, but Rowdy, we got some action here this weekend. We got some action here all week long, and we're going to start it right here with Tim's Corner Motorsports, as we always do. How's it going, my man? Are you awake? You got some coffee? What's going on?
We are rocking and rolling here, Paul, at the New Smyrna Speedway Beach, located in New Smyrna Beach Speedway, here with the Petty International Raceway iRacing Series. Fun track here. I'm sure this is going to be some non-stop action, as many have seen in the past with this league that we've called before. These guys, they're clean, they race hard, and they're definitely a lot of fun to call there, Kyle.
Yeah, indeed, Wes. Good morning, everybody. Glad to have you in here. Feels good to be up in the broadcast booth here at New Smyrna Speedway instead of the race controllers booth for the Saturday morning event. Should be a very fun one. We've seen a lot of good racing throughout these first two events with the Petty Raceway eSeries. Capping it all off today with another event here at New Smyrna Speedway. And as expected with the three-race series, the points don't really have an opportunity to get spaced out. But that's kind of the enjoyment of it. You come into this final race, you know someone's going to have to earn their little mini-series championship here. And it should be a lot of fun.
As it should. And we have Dylan up here in the booth with us. Dylan, how you feeling this morning? You ready to call some action?
I had my morning coffee. In fact, I had two of them. Drinking the water now. Got a couple of slices of bacon. I'm fired up, guys. It's a little earlier than I'm used to getting on the microphone for announcing racing. And funny enough, if we were to go real racing here in Nova Scotia, we wouldn't, because it's raining where I am and it's snowing in other parts of this province. So that's the good thing about the virtual New Smyrna, Florida. It's nice and toasty and dry, as you can see. It's round number 3, the Petty Raceway eSports Series. Points are very tight. We posted the points up on the Petty International Raceway Facebook page. There's not a lot of separation from first on to 6. Magic Mike Alexander has a 219 points up at the top. His brother, Matthew Barkhouse, 4 points behind him in second. In the number 15, he has 215 points. One of the lone Americans racing in this series, Brent Suggs, sitting in third currently, and he's only 8 points behind your point leader. Keith McLennan in the number 30 from Sydney, where it's snowing. He's about 13 points behind. And also Danny Chisholm, winner a few weeks ago, and Mike Rhino sitting in 5th and 6th. And that's the big points battle as we're finishing up qualifying here. And it looks like Keith McClellan and Mike Alexander are going to be on the top 2, so they get some bonus points just like that, fellas.
Quick, fast, and in a hurry, they get those bonus points. And now qualifying is over, so we're going to go jump over to the heat races. Looks like we should have, if everything goes right, we should have 3 heat races and then a consi. Dylan, who's moving on, and who has to go back to the consi?
If from my understanding, it's going to be the top 5 moving on in this heat, and then it depends on who answered the call. I think we have a little less of a car count today compared to the first 2 races. So our good old buddy Tim Terry is going to make sure we get the latest information about what's exactly happening. But we do know we've got a 12-lap heat race coming up here. I believe top 5 are moving on to the feature, and that feature is 100 laps here around New Smyrna Speedway. If you're unfamiliar with that track, it's in Florida. It's a half mile between 18 degrees and 20 degrees in the banking, so a high bank short track here, and that's going to be a lot of fun to watch.
It is, and I'll tell you what, Dylan, from my own experience racing on this track, it is intimidating. The other tracks around us in Florida, such as Citrus, Five Flag, Showtime, and more, they don't nearly have the banking that they have here at this half mile of Smyrna Speedway. The only track that really came close to it was USA International, which no longer is around. So, nonetheless, we're going to get ready to go green flag racing here with the Petty International Racers, and we got Brett Suggs in the 3. He's going to be starting pole. Todd Cousins in the 2 will be starting outside pole. Starting 3rd will be Richard Drake in the 141, and outside of him will be the 33, starting 4th of Trevor Smith. 69 of Dawson Noble will be starting behind them in 5th. Starting 6th will be Donnie Bernard. Starting 7th will be John Gahan in the 61. Outside of him will be Owen Marr in the 66. And then route out your field will be Matt James in the 59, the 128 of TJ Medor, and then Martin Landry in the 71. Kyle, I think it's time to go green flag racing.
Indeed it is, Wes. First of 3 heat races getting ready to watch the green flag fly into the air, and it will be led by Brett Suggs and Todd Cousins on the front row. Pace truck on a pit road, here we go. Loud pedals are smashed, and we are racing for the first time this morning at the new Smyrna Speedway. Brett Suggs off to a great start. He'll clear Todd Cousins. First 4 cars or so going to go single file. We're side by side for 5th. That battle is now done as John Gahan moves into position number 5. Top 5 move on here, Dylan. That's going to be the spot to watch all heat race long.
Yeah, Richard Drake sliding up the track, holding that 3rd position. We actually have a birthday boy racing today. Owen Marr's birthday, so he's in the 66, and he's going to try and fight to get in the big show. He's sitting on the outside right behind Gahan in the in the 66 again, as just mentioned. 12 laps here around this half mile, very fast track, and one of the lone Americans racing today from North Carolina, Brett Suggs in front of West Chesapeake's own Todd Cousins in the number 2.
Battle in the back as Mahar moves his way in the 6, and they're wrecking behind him. Dawson Noble and the 33 get together. Of the Dawson Noble and the 69 to 33, Trevor Smith get together coming off a turn 2. No caution as they are able to get that straightened back out. That happened right after Owen Mahar was able to make that pass for 5th. The 69 getting a little tight off the corner with the 33. They made contact, but we stay green, ladies and gentlemen. These are admin-controlled cautions, so just because there's a small incident on the track doesn't mean you're going to see the yellow flag fly. It is at the admin's discretion, and as you see there, both cars able to get back up and going, and unfortunately, though, it looks like they're going to have to try to fight their way into the show through the LCQ, as now back up front, Brett Suggs leads it. And to our viewers, again, thank you so much for tuning in. This is going to be a fun event. Make sure you stick around for the whole thing. Make sure you hit that subscribe button on YouTube, the like button on Facebook. We're here for you all day long, calling action.
All day long and all weekend long. This is the first of 6 races that we have going on over the next 2 days. 2 triple headers. Going to be an action-packed weekend of sim racing announcing. We've got a nice little battle heating up here for the final transfer spot, gentlemen. We got Owen Maher, I believe is how you say that, and Donnie Bernard fighting it out. Maher's got the spot in P5. Bernard is trying to take it. He's all over the back bumper right now. He's got a little space back to position number 7, so he can afford to fight hard here. He's going to give a shot to Maher coming off of the final turn 2, actually. That'll actually separate the 2 of them by about 3 or 4 car lengths. Now Bernard's going to have to run it back.
In the back, Kyle. Martin Landry gets together with Dawson Noble in the 69. They're still wrecking. Dawson Noble does his best to get out of the way of the leaders. Oh man, the leaders are coming straight up into them. Man, oh boy, that could have been a tough break for Brett Suggs. He got lucky there. Oh boy, as I believe Paul's going to try to get us a replay here, but that 69 machine has found himself in the drama once again here at New Smyrna Speedway.
Yeah, we're going to take a look at the instant replay here brought to you by Petty International Raceway. Find out exactly what went down. We're going to give it to you in real time. We're going to focus on the 69 car. And there wasn't any side-by-side action or anything like that. Looks like the 69 just gets tight, goes up into the wall, and collects the 71 of Martin Landry. A lot of heavy damage on that 69 car. And then, yeah, for some reason, he just kind of spins the tire and smashes into the 71 again. I'm not sure if that was intentional. You see the leader Suggs going by in 2nd place, 3rd, 4th place right there. Not entirely sure what was going on with the 69 ride right there, but tough break. A lot of damage on that car.
Paul, I got a feeling he did that because he knew the leaders were coming and he wanted to kind of just free up the bottom of the field or bottom of the track. But what I don't understand is as the field was making their way to him, he went back down the track. So Dawson Noble.
Oh, we're seeing some intentional hitting right now. You're going to have to let Tim Terry know.
And one thing, fellas, I wanted to mention, maybe about 5 laps ago, those two drivers were already beating and banging into each other. So this has been kind of a continuing thing is a young gun, Dawson Noble, against Martin Landry in the 71. Martin's from New Brunswick. So, yeah, the tempers are already starting to flare a little bit, and this is only heat race number 1, and it's only, 12:10 here in the afternoon here in Nova Scotia. So it's almost like a high noon showdown in the Old West.
Yeah, and you can tell the 71 pulled up to the 69. I'm sure he was waving at him with all 5 fingers on that hand.
Yeah.
Maybe he was calling him number 1 with that middle finger.
One of the two, I'm sure. And if New Smyrna Speedway is known to flare up the anger. And no matter what group is here, if it's real life racing or sim racing, the anger usually comes out. The frustrations show here at this high banked racetrack. It's a fast little half mile. Typically, if you're there in real life, it's a heck of a show. It is the home of the World Series of Racing during Speed Weeks. A little bit of history behind New Smyrna Speedway. And you'll see everything from today's stars, tomorrow's stars, as well as a yesterday's legends race there in January and February. So fun little track, and you never know, you might see a Pro Truck Series driver get mad and push over a pit box.
Kind of a unique situation here as well. Our very own Wes Hogue, multi-time spectator race winner at the New Smyrna Speedway, stomping the competition with his
7-time. All right, guys, you ready to go back green flag racing?
So we're going to line it up here for our first attempt at a green-white checkered finish. We're on lap 14. These are supposed to be 12-lap heat races, so we'll see if we can get this one done here. Pace truck on the pit road. We're back racing. Brett Suggs off to a great start. He's going to leave. Oh, Todd Cousins gets a boot, and he goes around. Second place, Todd Cousins gets spun out by John Gahan in P3. Caution flag stays in its holster. We're still green.
Didn't expect that one, Dylan, here. Just one lap to go here for Brett Suggs.
No, and it was not expecting that. A shot of a lifetime.
One wreck on the back,
61 of Gahan.
Never mind, I'm sorry. The 59 of Matt Jane just got wrecked on the front stretch. Still one to go.
Still one to go, so no caution flag. The only flag that's going to be flying in just a moment is that checkered flag from North Carolina's own Brett Suggs in the number 3. Gahan, Richard Drake, rounding out the top 3. Medor and Owen Marr, the birthday boy, moving on to the 100 lapper coming up tonight.
Well, to get a little bit of news for you guys in the booth and watching, John Gahan got black flagged.
I knew that was, I kind of figured that was coming. That was a pretty big hit that he did. A little leery, but doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, he did get the black flag waved at him, so we'll see what ends up happening there if he has to move on through the Consi. So, all right, guys, it's a round 2 here at New Smyrna Speedway. Starting on the pole will be Matthew Barkhouse in the 15. Next to him will be the 78 machine, and that is John Fitzpatrick. Third will be Evan Osborne in the 8. Fourth will be in the 38 of Travis Roma. Starting 5th will be Mark Williams in the 48. 6th, Caden Tufts in the 88. 7th will be Sean Pierce in the 21. Aiden Christensen in the 24 will be starting 8th, top row in that 4th row. Greg Stewart in the 99 will be starting 9th. And Terry Duguay will be starting 10th in the 14. Nice car. And that will be rounding out your field for heat number 2 here at New Smyrna Speedway.
Before we jump into this heat, we'll update you. Oop, go ahead.
Oh, sorry about that, buddy. One thing I was just going to mention, there's our previous race winner on the outside of row number 1. John Fitzpatrick from Charlottetown. The tire. Remember Kyle, he pitted a little earlier than the leaders last time we raced on this last weekend, and he came out on top in front of the 75, Mike Alexander, and he's starting on the outside of Mike's younger brother, the 15 of Matthew. Pull that pace car in and fire off once again.
Matthew Barkhouse off to a great start, leaves the field in his wake. We're side by side for positions 3 on back. That is Travis Roma and Evan Osborne. Roma's going to have the advantage. He slaps the outside wall coming off at turn number 2, so that'll bring Osborne back even as they enter turn 3. Side by side battle going on behind them as well. Those two guys are going to make contact. That's the 42 of Mark Williams and the 88 of Caden Tufts. Great side by side racing to kick off this second heat race.
Mark Williams in the 42 and Caden Tuff still battling hard for a top 5 position here so far. Caden wants it and trying to work that outside, but the outside just not hooking up as he merely misses the wall again coming off turn 4. That's going to open up the door for the 21 of Sean Pierce. He battles down onto the bottom, able to clear the 88 without an issue. We have a new top 6 so far with Matthew Barkhouse leading the way. Now the 42 of Mark Williams under fire from the 21 coming off a 4.
Pro Stock Racer Sean Pearson at Wood Brothers Style 21 underneath the beautiful 42 of Mark Williams. So Sean started at the back. He's starting to work his way up, and that is the transfer position. The 42 holding on to it, but he's on the outside, and that lane just doesn't have enough rubber, I don't think, for the boys there. Sean Pierce makes the pass in the front stretch, and now he slides into the transfer spot, but don't forget about he throws a lot of pressure.
The 42 gets spun by the 88. The 88 leans up onto the 42 of Mark Williams, and Mark Williams goes around Dylan exiting 2.
Tagged hard in turn 1 and 2, and the 42 falls all the way back. That means he's going to have to rely on a last transfer race if he wants to race 100 laps a little later here in New Smyrna. I'm curious, will that black flag maybe come out for the 88? I wouldn't say it was an overly aggressive move, just some contact in 1 and 2. But Caden Tufts is able to stay in his position. The 42, not so much, but Sean Pierce starts to pull away. Another driver pulling away is the leader, Matthew Barkhouse, in that 15. He's got a second lead over 78, John.
Really no surprise to see that happening at all. Matthew Barkhouse, one of the top contenders in this series, and he is on an absolute dominating roll right now. 5 laps to go here, heat race number 2. He continues to extend that lead up to 1.2 seconds over last week's winner, John Fitzpatrick, who has about a 0.6 of a second gap over Travis Roma. Evan Osborne's 4th, and Sean Pierce continues to ride around in position number 5. He's got a bit of a gap behind to Caden Tufts, so no real pressure at the moment now with 4 laps to go. We were questioning whether we would see the black flag for that move with the 42 spinning around. It is absolutely worth mentioning that with that black flag to John Gahan in that first heat race, that knocks him out of a transfer spot. He was in the top 5, and that puts Donnie Bernard into the top 5, so he will race in today's feature event without any issues. So just wanted to update the audience on that before we got too far carried away and forgot about that.
No, it's good. It's good to know for sure. We got a lot of Donnie Bernard fans watching here on Vidane TV. And Tim's Corner Motorsports, West, 2 laps to go for your leader, Matthew Barkhouse. He's got a big lead over second place.
Matthew Barkhouse knows how to get it done here, just like his brother, Mike Alexander. You know, they are your points leaders for a reason, as the white flag is out for Matthew Barkhouse one more time around this half-mile oval here in New Smyrna Speedway as he makes his way out of turn 2. He's been clean and green since the drop of the green. Not a single mistake. And coming out of 3 and 4, it looks like he will be able to hold it. And winner of heat number 2, Matthew Barkhouse. And he will be followed up by John Fitzpatrick, Travis Roma, Evan Osborne, and the final transfer position will be Sean Pierce in the 5.
So Greg Seward and Caden Tufts, they're going to have to fight it out in that final transfer race coming up here, boys, in just a few minutes. Race number 3 for the Petty International Raceway eSports Series. Petty Raceway located in Petticodiac, New Brunswick, owned by the Smith family. Beautiful race facility. I think they would also have the race canceled today if we were racing on the Saturday, because I think New Brunswick's getting like maybe 30 centimeters of snow. I know different parts of Cape Breton here in Nova Scotia are. And even in the northeast of the states, guys, a lot of snow, so Mother Nature getting all the bad weather out while we can't really race.
Yeah, I'm seeing it myself here in Central Square, New York, Dylan. We got a little bit of snow last night. Some of it's already decided to dissipate here on this early Saturday morning, but not what you want to see in May, but I guess it's kind of what we had coming to us because we had a more mild winter than usual. So I guess we'll tough it out and just wait for it to go away. What isn't going to go away is heat race number 3. They're now on the racetrack. And check out this front row, gentlemen. We got Ricky Arbo on the pole and Danny Chisholm on the outside pole. Two of the strongest competitors in this series. They're going to kick off heat race number 3. Craig Kinney in the 90 car. He's going to line up in position number 3, and his dancing partner to the outside is the 9 of Campbell Delaney. Troy Burke will start in that 5th and final transfer spot with Wade Craswell to his outside. Nicholas Noggle in position number 7. Brady Creamer in position number 8. Chris Ewing going to round out, or Todd Tufts in 9th, and Chris Ewing going to round out the field here in position number 10. 12 more laps, 5 more cars to qualify. Here we go.
Top 3 in this field are some of the strongest you'll see in this field, as well as Craig Kenny. And there's Ricky Arbo. He shoots off like a cannon, coming across the start-finish line to begin heat number 3. They go.
Oh, we got a big crash, Wes. One car is upside down in turn number 1. I'm not sure who that was, but somebody went wildly flipping on the entry to turn 1. I believe that's the 08. It is the 08 of Nicholas Noggle. He goes upside down in a hurry. The 67 machine of Wade Craswell also involved. The 01 of Troy Burke. Big dramatic crash here to start off heat 3.
You know, this is the first time I've seen this, guys, where the number on his roof is completely scratched off that 08. I'm not sure if or if iRacing worked with the mod here, but that's pretty cool, Paul.
Yeah, we're going to take a look. We saw Nicholas Noggle. You saw it live. He definitely a lot of big damage to that car. We'll take a look here, and you can see some tight racing. Oh, yeah, the 10 gets right into Noggle, sends him up on his roof, sends him up into the catch fence. There you go. There's a really good shot of that roof, too, showing the numbers completely scraped right off. Nose caved in, the fenders caved in up front, almost looking like he's a modified. But, man, oh, man, it's not Sunday night yet, so hopefully he can get down pit road. I love those numbers, the chrome style numbers there. Very, very neat. But tough break for the Nick Noggle in the 08. Hopefully he can get it fixed and maybe kind of putt around for a top 5. But looks like he's going to have to race his way into the Consi here later on.
Tough break. Nicholas Noggle, he races in many of the different leagues all around iRacing. Speed 51, we've seen him on. We've seen him with the World Series of E-Racing as well here with Tim's Corner Motorsports and Petty International iRacers. So, man, the guy definitely makes his way around, but he made his way around tonight onto his roof. I think he's going to have to work his way in through the Consi. But tough break, really early in the action. Didn't even get to see turn 1 on all 4 wheels.
Well, here's the cool thing, Wes. Nicholas Noggle, he has won at New Smyrna. He won a big late model race back in February, in fact. So, yeah, he knows how to get it done in real life here at New Smyrna Speedway. And that's a shame that he was riding the fence literally there on lap number 1. So, yeah, he's going to have to fight his way through other race cars to try and make the 100 lapper coming up. And that's such a cool thing. We have a lot of drivers here who have a little bit of experience racing in New Smyrna. Other drivers, they've only done it on iRacing. And we've got some of the best, as we mentioned. Ricky Arbo almost stole the show 2 weeks ago. Danny Chisholm won that race 2 weeks ago. Don't forget about the 90 of Craig Kenny, and we're back fired off again. 00 gets the green flag out in front of the 87, but it looks like an egg on the side of the car. Danny Chisholm in that gray car.
Chisholm gave Arbo a shot there coming off at turn number 2. Kind of gave him a boost as now Arbo separates himself from the... Danny Chisholm gets... Craig Kinney and Danny Chisholm parking at the top of turn number 4.
The 72 of Todd Tiffs goes around as well as the 12 of Chris Ewing across the front stretch across the Hampton in victory lane, Kyle.
Another wild wreck to kick off the restart here for heat race number 3. Off to a slow start, and this one could potentially set us into a green-white checker already as we are on lap number 7. Again, another top competitor. Danny Chisholm gets spun around by Craig Kinney at the top of turn 4, and then more trouble there with Todd Tufts in the 72 car. We got the 10 machine of Brady Creamer. He's coming down to pit road, and we'll send it on up to Paul in our replay booth to walk us through what happened there.
Yeah, you guys scared me with that call. I actually spilled coffee all over the keyboard here, so hopefully these buttons still work. But we'll take a look here from the blimp cam. The 12 car, you see him down low, and the action was actually up front with Chisholm. Chisholm was sent around there. We'll back it up a little bit here so we can see it, and you can see just gets a little bit of a shot there from the 90, and then the 9 as the 90 checks up bumps right into the back of him. Tough break for him. Doesn't look like it was a very hard hit, so a little bit of damage on that car, I'm sure. Looks like we had a couple other guys that were actually wrecking down there in victory lane. See if we can back up, see what went down there. It's the 72 car, as I remember hearing that called out. And he's actually still currently scored in 4th, it looks like. So you can see, looks like, okay, yeah, as the 72 and the 12, they were side by side trying to get around there. 12 didn't want to get a penalty for coming down pit road, so he comes up and just hits the 72. Again, not really a hard hit, but still damage on those race cars.
You know, Todd did a great job of parking in the victory lane. That was almost perfect. He even let it sit there, let the flash bulbs go off, get some winners pictures, go ahead and pull yourself into the top 5 to restart this thing.
Yeah, that was a pretty beautiful landing, even if it was unintentional. And I love the look of that number 12 of viewing, that old Skull Bandit look. Really, any Skull Bandit scheme is just one of my favorites from NASCAR and super late model racing. So we got some really cool paint schemes. You can see Delaney in the number 9's got the old GM Goodwrench scheme, and drivers try and replicate also their real race cars in real life that they're still working on and getting ready to bring out eventually here with the racing season looming. And the sad reality is, if COVID-19 wasn't a thing, we would be racing next week in Nova Scotia. But thankfully, we've got iRacing, we've got Vidane TV, we've got you guys, we've got all the fans watching. I want to thank you all again watching on Vidane TV and Tim's Quarter Motorsports. And we're going to double up again here. Ricky Arbo stays in front, and look at that. The number 9, Campbell Delaney, slides into...
How about a quick shout out to that 12 car, Chris Ewing? He started scratch on the field, position number 10. He's avoided the calamity to the best of his ability, and he is sitting comfortably at a transfer spot in position number 3. Him in the 72, kind of in a secondary wreck there after Craig Kenny and Denny Chisholm got involved. They ended up getting their spots back. So the fenders are beat in a little bit, but they still have the most important part, and those are those transfer spots. Green flag is out. Here we go. We will go green, white. Check. 72 goes around. The 72 at Todd Tufts goes around from Troy Burke, and the caution flag flies. We're going to go attempt number 2 at a green-white checker.
Troy Burke went into turn 1 like, I like tater tots, locks it up, slams into the 72, and then just drives that thing in the middle of the rest of the field like he said, Jesus, take the wheel, but instead it was Helen Keller. He just flew down into turn 1 and just did not turn, Paul.
Yeah, you know, with that, we're going to jump on board here with the Tater Tot car and see exactly what went down with Troy Burke. As we're going to take a look at the cockpit view, the green roll bars will hit the play button. And you can see they take the green flag and all the flash bulbs in the crowd going down. No issue yet, but yeah, like you said, just Jesus take the wheel, just right up into the 72. And, man, he collects there. You see Chisholm is involved. I think that's the 140. Nope, that's the 67, the red and yellow car there. So we'll take a look at it again here from the television camera. You see he's sitting on pit road now, and yeah, just restart and just didn't turn. Just almost like he was aiming for that 72. But a lot of hard hits in there. Another hard hit for Chisholm, and there you see the 67, the 01 getting involved with it too. It's a tough break.
Man, I'll tell you what, we were watching that live as it happened, and I was trying to keep an eye on the 72 because of the damage that he had. I saw he was having some issues on the restart, and suddenly, you know, I'm a space-bound rocket ship, and your bumper's the moon, and I'm aiming right at you. And he just flew into him and then took out the rest of the field. You know, that was some crazy stuff there. I haven't seen anything like that in a long time. That was very Kevin LePage-esque. If I can't win, neither are you.
I noticed that the GM, Tim Terry, slid into our chat in the announcer booth. Tim, wow.
How's your hairline?
It's actually not bad so far. It's only a heat race, but I just wanted to step in to remind you guys that these drivers have reached their 7-minute time limit for their heat, so this will be a green and a white displayed together on the restart. This will be the final opportunity for them to finish the race, and if there's anything that we see within a transfer position, we will act swiftly, and they'll likely be in the LCQ. We had that issue crop up in another heat race, but this one's been wild. Danny Chisholm involved in the championship hunt. He's had a couple of incidents here that have put him behind the 8 ball a little bit, so we'll see if we can get this cleaned up. The good news is that with only 3 heats, gentlemen, I think we're taking 12 or 13 from that last chance qualifier. I think we're starting 17 or 18. Or maybe a little bit more. So those guys have an opportunity to play a little bit. But speaking about play, we're getting ready to go back to green.
Tim, real quick question from a viewer. If a driver gets taken out and the guy at fault gets a black flag, is there any way giving that driver that got taken out his position back?
No, iRacing is not coded that way. We'd have to black flag a bunch of people for him to get that spot back. So unfortunately, iRacing doesn't give us that luxury. But they'll have to earn it back, and we're getting ready to go green and white together here.
All right, and you heard it there. Unfortunately, if you are the victim of that, there's really not much that we can do. But if we can give you any justice, the guy that takes you out will get black flag. No, the 9 gets taken out by the 12. He kind of saves it. No, he doesn't. And another big wreck. Delaney goes around. He got punted by Ewing, who battled all the way up there to try to get that transfer position, allowing Rick Arbo now all alone going across the line. Craig Tully. Oh, the field is just everywhere. Danny Chisholm just went from seventh to third to move on. I'm just speechless. Todd Tufts in the 72 gets a transfer position, finishing 5th. Holy crap, Kyle.
That was a wild heat race nonetheless. We'll go through the rundown here really quickly before we get to our sole consolation, which Tim is right. We will take 13 cars out of it. Oh, good old iRacing. Why are you not giving me the results? The people need to know. We do know that, there we go. Ricky Arbo gets the win. Second place will be Craig Tully, Danny Chisholm in 3rd, Craig Kenny 4th, and the 5th and final transfer spot will be Todd Tufts. Going to this consolation race from heat race number 3 is Campbell Delaney in the 9, Chris Ewing in the 12, Wade Cresswell in the 67, Brady Creamer in the 10, Troy Burke in the 01, and Nicholas Noggle in the 08. 40 laps for our consolation. 13 cars are going to transfer on, and we have 20 of them that will take the green flag, so we will send 7 cars home for this Petty International Raceway eSeries finale, Dylan.
Yeah, it's going to be an exciting one, and again, 13 drivers will move on to the big show coming up in just a little bit, 100 laps here at New Smyrna Speedway, and this is really going to shake up the points. I mean, the points going into today's races, Mike Alexander leading with 219. And again, you can see the standings on the Petty International Raceway Facebook page. Give him a like while you're there as well. Matthew Barkhouse, 4 points behind Mike Alexander. Brett Suggs, 8 points behind your leader, Mike Alexander. Keith McClellan in the number 30 from Sydney, Nova Scotia. He has 206 points, so he is 13 behind first place. Danny Chisholm coming in here, 205 points, but there are some points dished out here in the heat races and the consolation races. The good thing for Mike Alexander, he gets a 15-point bonus automatically for landing on the front row, so that's going to give him an extra cushion to win this championship. And yes, there are going to be some trophies handed out, I believe, with this Petty Raceway E-Series finale. And with the winner as well, they're also going to get some pit passes as well for the upcoming season, so they'll save a little bit of money coming up here. And the whole point was to have some fun. Registration money for this actually goes to the real registration for cars for the 2020 season whenever that kicks off here. And the drivers that are fighting out here in 40 laps in just a moment, we have Trevor Smith in the 33. So actually the son of Wayne and Ellen Smith here. Hometown boy on the front row here getting ready to fire off again, gents.
And we are green flag racing 40 laps. Consi here at New Smyrna Speedway. And the caution is out. Another big one in the back. We are already wrecking them in the back. Oh boy, the 69 involved, the 99 involved, and more. Could not even get across the start-finish line before going full metal jacket. Coming to the green, we're going to see exactly what happened here. Paul, what you got, man?
I got me an instant replay brought to you by Petty Raceway, and we're going to take a look. You said the 99, the 69 involved. We saw the 99 there pointing in the wrong direction, and the 12 car, the Skull Bandit car, does not go. And the 99 just plows into the back of him, no fault of his own, because there's really nowhere to go there. And then you can see in the back of the 99 was the 61. And then the 10 car gets a good piece of it. 69 involved as well. Oh, man, tough hit for the 14. 47 big hit. Noggle gets by. It looks like skate free, so that's good news. But, man, a lot of junk here, lap one, even before turn 1.
You know who would be good for this? Our sponsorship that's right out of New Smyrna Speedway? College Hunks, Moving Junk.
Yes, they would.
Because there's a lot of junk to be moved here at this Petty International iRacing Series. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. This might be a long 40 laps.
I'm guessing, fellas, I think maybe Ewing in the 12, maybe he forgot to put his pouch of Skull Bandit in his lip, and maybe he dropped it, and that's why he didn't start. That's all I'd have to assume with the sponsorship on this car.
He forgot something, and it might have been the loud pedal. I don't know what it was, but a lot of drivers are not going to be moving on because of it, unfortunately.
Listen, just because he's got Skull on the car, don't mean he's got Skull in the car.
He could be like old Dick Trickle having a while they're on the pace laps, and I don't know, just was a little later.
You know, guys, last week we saw a bit of a rough consolation event. So far, we're off to the same start here in this one. Of course, still early on, so hoping that that we can get some solid racing. But that's kind of it's unfortunately one of the factors that happens with these consolation races. This is the absolute last opportunity for these guys to qualify for the race. And I know we're taking 13 out of 20. More than half of these guys are going to race. You're going to have more moving on than you will have going home. And of course, with what just happened here was kind of seemed like some type of mechanical issue or a missed shift or something like that. But it's either way, it shows you how much pressure is on these guys to get into this feature event. Final opportunity. It is a longer race. It's almost half the distance of what the main feature is going to be. But when you know that this is it, this is your final opportunity, nothing else is coming after this, it really puts you up on the wheel. It makes you more aggressive. It makes you more attentive. And unfortunately, in some of these instances, it causes a little bit more chaos than what we're bargained for. But we'll see how things are able to progress from here. Looks like out of that one, we do have 3 cars that have fallen off the lead lap. That's Troy Burke, Brady Kramer, and Greg Seward. So those guys are going to be in trouble having an opportunity to make it through. But it also makes those guys that are currently in a transfer spot makes it a little bit more comfortable because now there's only 3 cars on the lead lap that are not qualifying. So if you can survive this one, you're probably in a good place.
You are, and we already saw a couple cars might need some AWS roofing services, a proud sponsor of Vidane TV, AWS Roofing Services, out of Edgewater, Florida. There for your roofing needs. Like them on Facebook as we are back green here. Trevor Smith hits the loud pedal. He knows how to go fast down into turn 1, followed by Caden Tufts in the 88. They start to get a little single file further up, but that's not going to stop them further in the back of already getting rough and rattling. As we see the 61, John Gahan, he leaned on the 42 of Mark Williams. They're able to get it straightened out. Now Mark is under fire from the 67. He powers off of turn 4, able to hold on that position. And now the 9 gets wrecked by the 24. Aiden Christensen says, it's 4th and 10, buddy. We are punting. He sends Aiden Christensen hard into the wall. Entering turn 1, we are yet again under caution here at New Smyrna Speedway.
Yeah, and even on the broadcast view there, Wes, we were seeing a few other drivers tangling up as well. So it wasn't just the 9 car getting all tangled up. There was a few more incidents there. Brothers, it doesn't seem like turn 1 is working, or these drivers aren't checking their mirrors to see if anyone's lower than them on the track.
Man, it's crazy because you are correct. There were another incidents in the back where the 61 of Gahan got into Wade Croswell and the 67 simultaneously at the time that the 24 of Aiden Christensen and Campbell Delaney and the 9 got together. There's just battling and just calamity all over this track here this afternoon. And maybe these drivers just need to really just kind of get their tempers down, take a deep breath, get their nerves under control, and realize this is a long 40 laps, and it's only longer if you're running all of them under yellow.
Yeah, it's slowing things down for sure. And we can just see the replay. There's the Gahan and the 67 all tangled up there. So that was the other wreck at the same time, coincidentally, in turn 1 and 2.
Yeah, off to a rough start. Continuing on here with this consolation race. Kind of, we did have a shakeup in the lead there coming off of turn number 2 on that one lap that we did get green. Caden Tufts was able to sneak underneath Trevor Smith and take over the race lead. So the 88 car now out in front here, closing in. Well, actually, just beyond the quarter of the way through mark here, as we're on lap number 12. Trevor Smith in the 33. Todd Cousins is 3rd in the 2. Matt Janes is 4th. And Mark Williams currently in position number 5. Looking at it so far, looks like at the moment, Campbell Delaney, the only one that has fallen off at the lead lap due to this incident. So that puts 15 cars on the lead lap. And again, that attrition, if you can survive, chances are you're looking really good to be able to qualify for the feature.
Well, I know I'm nice and comfortable doing this in my track pants. I don't know about you guys, but these drivers are probably not as comfortable as it seems like turn one is just a dive bomb area for a few drivers. And yeah, Kyle, on that run, Trevor Smith slid up to the outside, and the outside lane's just not developing currently for these drivers. So Caden Tufts was able to go around the 33 with ease. And there's also Todd Cousins now sliding into the third position. He's from West Chesapeake, Nova Scotia, in that green number 2. And you can see the rest of the lineup at the top of the screen on the ticker, as well as, yeah, a majority of this feature, B feature, pardon me, has been raced under caution, slow going, but the lights are off that pace truck, so we are going to fire off here. We haven't really had any long green flag stretches, to be honest, even in the heat races. This B feature, so we'll see if we can get her done this time.
These guys are going to not only be racing 40 laps, but the way it's looking, if a couple more caution, they're going to be racing the time limit in these events. So they got either 20 minutes or 40 laps, and the way they're looking, they're going to be cutting it close if they keep this up. But the pace truck is up, and we are rock and rolling. Caden Tufts again in that 88, that beautiful Pontiac machine. Getting the whole shot going down into turn 1. And the 67 wipes into the 59 of Matt Janes. Matt Janes saves it. That opens up the door of Chris Ewing looking under the 80 of Nick, the 08 of Nick Noggle. There goes Tufts on the apron coming in through 3 and 4. That typically doesn't work. He got lucky through that one. Oh, man, they are just all over the place already. The 69. Oh, and there's the one in the wall. It's the 35. He gets slapped into the wall of John Kane. There's just action all over this track. Now they're finally single file, but for how long?
A fantastic question. So far, so good. Oh, the 69! You have your answer. The 69 goes into the outside wall, collects the 47, and the 47 is upside down, sliding on his lid into turn number 1. The 69 of Dawson Noble cracks the outside wall, comes back down. Cody Fink is the innocent victim, and Fink goes into the wall and slides on his roof down into turn number 1. Caution flag number 3, and race officials have made the call. We will go single file from here on out in the remainder of the consolation.
I think they might have to call AWS Roofing there, Paul, for that 47.
Yeah, most definitely. He just flipped right up on his top there. We'll take a look at the instant replay. And you can see the 69 was just kind of up here and pushes just a bit, smacks the wall, pancakes it, comes on down, hits the 47. 47 goes for a ride. Look at all the sparks flying. He looks like he gathers up that 14 car, the two-tone blue car, and he's just kind of sitting there spinning the mud off his tires as he finally does take that reset, that quick tow down to pit road. He is done for the afternoon. No feature racing for the 47 Cody Fink. Tough break.
Man, that's just not what you want to see in a consi. Not 1, not 2, but 3 cautions this early. I don't think we've had more than a 5-lap run here. I think maybe even 2 laps. And again, this track breeds that, gentlemen, on the iRacing series. And I think this is maybe a little bit why is in real life, you can run door handle to door handle at this track with very little issue if you know what you're doing. It's not like that here in the sim. You can't dive it in there like that. You have to give room. And if you're used to the track in real life, it's not the same over on the sim. You have to give room if you're on the outside. And if you are that guy on the inside, and this is like real life, you can't dive bomb into 1 and 3. You have to time that perfectly. And if you don't, you're going to slide up into the car above you, and you're going to see what happened. And that's the way it's been happening tonight.
From my perspective, and obviously because iRacing, you're not spending thousands of dollars in the shop after a race if your car gets beat up. I don't know if it's just a lack of I don't want to say lack of respect, but it's that kind of car awareness where it's you know what, if it gets torn up a bit, who cares? It's iRacing. I guarantee a few of these drivers, they were actually here at New Smyrna, they wouldn't pull the same moves that they've been doing.
Yeah, I would agree with that for sure, Dylan. There's a lot less on the line here with iRacing. You don't have to spend any money to fix the car. You're not at risk of getting hurt or killed if you end up flipping over or flying over the catch fence and taking out a spectator or two. There's it's a much different environment than running in the real world. And not for everybody, of course, but I do think in some instances you do have kind of a lack of, or maybe not as much care as you would in the real world. And with it being a computer simulation, a lot of people take it in a different light. Some guys are super extremely serious about this. Others are just kind of doing it for fun and seeing what happens. Looks like we're about to go green flag, though. We will have this single file restart. We'll have 18 to go. Pace truck onto the pit road, and Caden Tuff smashes the loud pedal, and we are back green once again. And look at that in the top 5. Got a lot of space opening up here amongst these front runners. We currently only have 13 cars on the lead lap, so all of these guys that are running laps on the lead lap, they do have a transfer position. I will make mention that Brady Creamer, he has worked his way back to 1 lap down. He was at least 2, just a caution or 2 ago, so if he gets another one, he could enter himself into the battle to knock somebody out. But all these guys 15th on back, they're 4 or more laps down or out of the race, so it makes it much easier for these guys that are fighting through the attrition to make the show.
Kyle, we did have an incident in the back on the beginning of this run, but no caution came out. Cody Fink in the 47 got involved. The 69 of Noble just punted Terry Duguay in the 14 entering turn 1, but luckily they were able to get it righted up and no caution. So that's the good thing about these single file restarts is these guys get a chance to get spread out. Oh, the 12 of Landry and the 77 get together on the front stretch. The 77 now in the grass trying to get back going, and the caution is out. Man, it's like the same parties keep on getting involved. It's man, I know Tim Terry's got to be pulling his hair out of his head, Dylan.
Well, Tim's starting to grow a beard now, so all the hair is going from the top of his head to the front of his face. But yeah, I'm noticing that trend. It seems to be a few cars here, all pretty similar, the ones we've been seeing, the usual suspects, if you will. And it's a shame because we were seeing a good little battle develop between your top 3, Caden Tuffs, Trevor Smith, and Todd Cousins in the 2. And that's just the thing. The leaders can't really get to battling because there's only been 4 or 5 lap stretches of green flag racing before cars pile up in turn 1 again.
And Troy Burke got connected there as well, and he got collected with Chris Ewing after he took out the 71. He took out the 01 as well, but that's kind of karma from what the 01 did last race of the 72. But man, if you know, math serves me correctly, and I can't really count without my hands and toes, we're going to hit that time limit, guys. We're under 4 minutes remaining, and we still have about 13 laps to go. I don't see them getting every single lap into this one.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be tough with roughly 6.5 minutes left. I made a mention of it during that last caution run, or as soon as we went green. Brady Creamer does get back on the lead lap. So fortunately for him, with Troy Burke's involvement, he drops 2 laps off the lead lap. So he will not only put himself back on the lead lap, but also inside of a transfer spot with some cushion. So this works out really well for the 10 of Brady Creamer. And, you know, it just makes you wonder what's up with so much aggression. We have 13 cars on the lead lap. Everybody that's on the track right now, not off of the lead pace, is going to make the show. I understand you're still racing for starting position, but in a 100-lap race with what? We'll have about 25, 26 cars or so. Or actually, no, I think Tim said 29 or 30. It's a lot of time to make your way through the field. You would think that most of these guys would just be happy to move on and get this race run out.
Yeah, you know, at this point, you're just kind of sick of being out there on the track at this point. That's the point that you get to at this time, you know, when you're four cautions into a 40-lap race, and you know you have more caution laps than you have green flag laps. It's, you know, it's just what gives. And the only fortunate thing about it is the field will start to thin out, and with less cars, you know, the more green flag laps that can come. But it's kind of too little too late, as you were saying, Kyle. There's the top 11 are in the field. You're going to make the show. Well, I wouldn't say the top 11, but about 11 cars are in the field. There are some cars out of the race that are scored in front of some of the cars that are still out in the track, such as 17th place Greg Stewart's still out there, Terry Duguay is out there, as well as the Campbell Delaney ride. So hopefully now, keeping it up with the single file starts here, Dylan, we can stay green flag racing.
I'm praying, fellas. I'm praying. I want to see a good battle up in front. Caden Tuffs took the lead from the 33 on the early start of this B feature. Let's see if that 88 Bandolero driver can hold it. Pace truck pulls in left. Green flag about to come out with 9 laps remaining here at New Smyrna Speedway for this B feature. Caden Tuffs gets a giant lead right off the get-go in front of the 33, Trevor Smith. Todd Cousins still in the number 2 and 3rd spot. Again, Top 13 are moving on to the 100 lapper coming up in mere minutes here, race fans. Thanks for sticking around early this afternoon. Race starting a bit earlier today to accompany the NASCAR race at the virtual North Wilkesboro race Speedway coming up here, I think 4 p.m. Atlantic, 3 p.m. Eastern. So we're getting it done early today, and we can see the 88 is getting her done, pulling away from the 33.
Yeah, there was a nice little blanketed battle for positions 2 through 5 before the moment. Caden Tufts about a half a second ahead of Trevor Smith. He's got a mirror full of Todd Cousins. These guys, again, all comfortably locked into a position. How about Nicholas Nagel, the 08 car? We saw him take a nasty ride in his heat race. He dives to the inside of Mark Williams to take over position number 4. Make that pass. Williams gives it to him, and now will have his sights set on the 2 machine of Todd Cousins. Cousins put into this consolation race after getting spun out from position number 2 in his heat race. He's showing his speed. He's in P3, plenty of space, nice comfortable spot. We have 5 laps to go on the timer. We've got about 2 minutes and 47 seconds. If we can stay green, we might be able to get all 40 in.
Man, I sure hope so, Kyle, because these guys deserve to get some kind of green flag running in here. And not only with that battle of those blanketed cars, we have the Matt James ride of the 59. He's under fire from the 67 of Wade Crosswell. We saw him struggle a bit on the beginning of this run, but he's able to now make his way around the 59 of Matt James, who just kind of pulled over for him and said, hey, you're faster than me right now. We're all moving on. We're trying to get to lap 40 on this one. So battle further up front, and that will be for the 3rd position as the 2 of Todd Cousins under fire now from Noggle.
Nicholas Noggle won here in New Smyrna in real life. He's putting quick work around the number 2 Cousins, so he grabs position number 3. If you're keeping track, race fans, on your scoreboard, Brady Creamer currently sitting in 13th, but he's got a 4-lap cushion above Terry Duguay in that 14. So there's not really any worry. They just got to kind of drive with ease here to finish off this race. In front, it is the 88 of Caden Tufts in front of Trevor. 2nd, 3rd, and 4th all tussle for that position. The number 88 is pulling away.
White flag flies into the atmosphere. Contact between Noggle and the 33 of Trevor Smith. Smith hangs on. Noggle will take over the spot. Now he turns Todd Cousins head on into the outside wall. Not too sure what that was all about. And now, oh God, Cousins nearly piles in to the rest of the field. Back to the front of the field, though, the checkered flag is out. Caden Tufts will pick up the victory in this consolation race. Nicholas Noggle finishes 2nd. Mark Williams 3rd. Trevor Smith 4th. Wade Craswell rounds out the top 5. Matt Jane 6th. John Kane 7th. Aiden Christensen. Todd Cousins. Martin Landry. Dawson Noble. Brady Creamer and Chris Ewing, your top 13 cars that will move on to tonight's feature event. Well, gentlemen, we are done with qualification. It was a bit rough. We have our field set for this afternoon's 100-lap feature event. We will start 30 cars for 100 laps here at New Smyrna Speedway, the final event for this Petty International Raceway eSeries. We'll crown a champion today. They'll have some nice benefits, some nice rewards, and we'll kick it all off here with our national anthem.
Okay, folks, we'll get ready for the national anthem here. If you're able to, would you please rise for singing of O Canada?
O Canada, our home and native land.
True patriot love in all of us command. Qu'attendra se porter l'épée, il sait porter la croix.
From far and wide, oh Canada, we stand on guard for thee. God keep our land. Glorious and free. Oh, Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Oh, Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Drivers, start your engines.
ladies and gentlemen, that was our national anthem. We're ready to get rocking and rolling here. We're going to have 100 laps or 1 hour and 19 minutes. We typically don't mention the time limit. However, tonight it may be the exception as we've seen some action-packed racing all night long. Each heat race had some non-stop drama. The Consi did not disappoint either. Tim, how are you feeling about this feature after the show we've seen?
Ask me how many hairs I lost in that last lap.
Yeah, that last lap alone was pretty hairy, let alone seeing how many cars landed on their roof throughout that event.
So I want to explain a call. We had a last lap incident on the back straightaway between Todd Cousins and Trevor Smith. We can't throw a yellow flag on the last lap because that's how iRacing is coded. It goes straight to the checkers. You race back to the line. Because that incident cost the 2-car a couple of positions at the end, and we deemed it would have been a caution anyway. The penalty for the 33 is an end of longest line for the feature because everybody is in the show that was on the lead lap in that one. So speaking of race cars, we're getting ready to roll them for 100 laps, 30 cars. And essentially, boys, for the points, it's 5 points between Mike Alexander and Matthew Barkhouse. So if Mike finishes in the top 2, he's got it all locked up. So good luck, have some fun, and thanks for everybody that's watching.
Tim, that's a tall task in this race, finishing in the top 2. We saw some of we saw our Danny Chisholm get caught up early in his heat race, be able to fight back. We saw Nicholas Noggle, who is a past winner here at New Smyrna, have some issues as well. I feel like that might actually be a tough task, even though Mike is as fast as he is.
Yeah, it's going to be a tall task, especially with only 100 laps in this field of cars. So we'll see. It should be a fun show for those that are watching online and those that are up here. You guys are going to have a ball call in this one. And Wes, I know you know this racetrack like the back of your hand. So this one's going to be fun. Cars are rolling off. Let's put on.
All right, guys, and we're going to go through your starting lineup here for this on 100. Count them 100 lap feature, ladies and gentlemen. So the way your lineup shall be, if everything goes the way it should, starting pole is the 30 of Keith McClellan. Starting second will be the number 75, your points leader, Mike Alexander. Brent Suggs starting third in the number 3. Matthew Barkhouse starting 4th. Ricky Arbo will be starting 5th. Richard Drake, 6th. John Fitzpatrick in the 78 will be starting 7th. Craig Tully, 8th. TJ Bedore will be starting 9th, and rounding out your top 10 will be Travis Roman at 38, starting 10th. Danny Chisholm, 87, will be starting 11th, and that's about as far as we can go, guys, because we're about to go green flag racing here at New Smyrna Speedway.
Yes, we are. This is going to be a 100 lapper in New Smyrna. It's the final race of the Petty International Raceway eSports Series, and there is your point leader on the outside of row number 1, Magic Mike Alexander. All he has to do is finish in the top 2 tonight. Green flag is out here in New Smyrna, and Keith McClellan in the number 30 grabs the lead.
McClellan off to a great start. The top 2 will single file out, and Brett Suggs still working over Matthew Barkhouse for position number 3. He's got the advantage on Barkhouse as they enter the turn. Barkhouse trying to fight back on the top side, but it will be to no avail. Suggs will take over that spot, and now we single file out through the majority of the... We got a car on his left side in the...
I was just going to say that, Kyle. There was a car on its side while the leaders go by. So I don't know who that was, but
it's Trevor Smith.
Big
Trevor
wreck in
Smith
the back,
in the 33.
boys. Big wreck in the back. The 77, the 128, the 10, the 69 again. Don't surprise there. Man, they are just piling in further in the back. The 90s caught up into it. Oh man. Oh, and the leaders are coming around to it now. I was watching the 69 earlier. As we were starting to go with that, I was wondering if he was going to be where Calamity would start. And I believe he was, as we're going to try to get a replay, see exactly what happened with the 69 and the rest of the field there. I'm having a little bit of an issue with it kind of blinking out on me. Paul, what do you got through there?
Yeah, just kind of sifting through the AWS roofing instant replay here. In the 69, it didn't start it, but he definitely finished it off. You can see there was a gaggle of cars out front there, and the 69 just kind of arc a braked all the way through. So tough break there. We'll see if we can check a look, see if we can check the replay focused in on the 71 car. Kind of try and find out how this mess started. No, it looks like they were wrecking even still, the 71 piece of it. So let's go with the 90 car. See if we can maybe figure out what the dealio is. Big hard hit there. And looks like this might be it. So, okay, we're looking at the 66. Looking at the 90 car right now, and you can see up front, the 66 car gets up underneath the 128, sends the 128 around, comes down, pancakes the 90 into the wall, not before hitting the 8 car, and then a bunch of other stuff happens, and now we got a bunch of tore up race cars. Good luck trying to call that one in real time. Holy moly.
I think, Paul, that's the best way to describe it. A lot of stuff happened, because there was a lot of stuff happening.
I heard, and then there was a smash, and then a bunch of tore up race cars.
What the heck happened to Trevor Smith, and why was he on his side for almost a lap?
Yeah, take a look at Trevor Smith. You see him right now. He's on pit road. We'll see if we can just back up the tape here.
Like, I know
it's right off on the initial start. I was looking at it myself. Aiden Christensen in the 24, he spins himself right off the start in turn 4, slaps the inside wall, comes back up the track, hits Trevor Smith. He hits the outside wall and starts flipping.
Yep, you called it just as it came across the screen there, and man, did a little barrel roll. That's a hell of a landing. That's
solid.
Yeah, solid.
I was thinking the same thing myself. He barrel rolls once and a half or so and ends up landing on the driver's door. That's kind of a bit rare for a barrel roll flip like.
Give him a 9.1 on the landing.
Yeah, 10-4 on that.
I got to give a shout out that a driver that I was very close with. He drove a number 33 named Michael Held. He's no longer with us, unfortunately, but he flipped coming off of turn 4 in his late model years ago. And there's a great video of him on YouTube screaming, "I'm on fire," when he was not on fire. And it was an ongoing go, God rest his soul, Michael Held. That was very Michael Held-esque in the way that happened and stuck the landing as the pace truck is down and we are back green. Keith McClellan gets the whole shot on Mike Alexander. Mike Alexander knows he just has to finish in the top 2. So don't expect him to push too hard and put himself in a certain predicament that might cost him a chance at that. We're single file throughout until you have the 00 of Ricky Arbo working underneath a Richard Drake in the 141. That battle is for the top 5. Caution is out. Caution, another big one in the back. What do you know it? It's another big one. The number 10 is involved again. Multiple, the 128 of TJ Mador is in. Man, I think it might be time to call up AWS Roofing, some of these guys, as well as Cage Gauge. A lot of these guys are going to need some help. And what are you doing? Chris Ewing, he's involved again. We're seeing some familiar faces in these accidents. What you got for us, Paul, as the 72 of Todd Tufts was also involved?
Yeah, big junk as it we're loading the replay up now. We're going to take a look. Coming back up on your screen here for the AWS Roofing instant replay. 67-59 side-by-side heading on down into turn number 3. 67 is down low, and okay, the issue is with the 17. He actually gets loose off the apron, gets hooked off the front of the 67, and Calamity straightaway, I guess we can call it. 24, 71, 2, 128 involved. The 12 is involved. That 12 is looking more and more like a skull can that looked like it got run over by a truck. And it seems like that's been the move all morning long. But a lot of tore up race cars here. What is this, the second caution already for within 10 laps? So a lot of tore up race cars. It's one of those things where it's really going to be the kind of the survival of the fittest here, and see who's going to be able to survive this race. It looks like.
Race of attrition here, Dylan. That's what we like to call it, where you're just racing to survive, also known as an enduro race.
Hey, I've had my fair share of announcing enduro races. They can be pretty crazy, and I don't even think the enduro race I had the pleasure of announcing at my local dirt track a few years ago was as crazy as this race so far. Pretty littered with a bunch of big wrecks in turn number 1. That seems to be the danger zone once again, as and we were referring to turn 1 and 2 at Langley last week as the danger zone, so kind of the similar thing. Here's the number 30 of Keith McClellan in the number 30, again, the Bud Light machine, and he's from Sydney, Nova Scotia, so he's sitting in front of Mike Alexander, and I expect Mike's going to take it very easy. All he has to do is finish in the top 2, and he's going to claim his Petty Raceway eSports Series Mini Championship. But, man, we've had some things happen to lead cars at different tracks. Kyle, if you remember last week, when all the leaders decided to make a pit stop, what happened in nearly the top 10? They all crashed and turned.
Yeah, that was absolutely the biggest highlight from last week's event. You had all the front runners make a pit stop. John Fitzpatrick decided to throw a monkey wrench in there, stayed out, and it ended up being the right call. The fast competitors, they all piled it up in turns 1 and 2. That next restart, John Fitzpatrick looks like a hero, and he didn't do it easily, though. He did still have to hold off some fresher tires behind him, but was able to get the victory on an awesome strategy call. Fitzpatrick is currently running in position number 7. After that win last week, it put him, let's see, 13th in the points. Nice and tightly packed with a bunch of the guys around him, so he has a very good shot at a top 10 points finish here. He entered this race 50 points behind Mike Alexander for the lead, so he's not going to have a shot at the championship, but he can still get himself a solid top 10. Pace truck is off. We'll try this again. Keith McClellan and that beautifully painted number 30 Bud Light machine takes the restart, and he will clear for the race lead. Mike Alexander goes to 3rd, Brett Suggs 3rd, and Matthew Barkhouse will now clear Ricky Arbo for 4th and 5th. Side-by-side battling there with a 38 machine of Travis Roma. He's got, he just wins that battle from the 5 of Craig Tully. Now Danny Chisholm, who had a bit of a rough go.
Wrecking in the back. Brady Creamer goes around in the 10, trying to get it back up and rolling. He kind of got door slap coming out of 4, and he... They're wrecking further up. No, boy, oh boy, oh boy.
Oh, he's right in the middle of the field. We got leaders piling in the 141, the 46. Multiple cars are piling into the 10 machine of Brady Creamer. Creamer, we were talking about him in that consolation race, fought his way back from multiple laps down to transfer, and I'm pretty sure he has been involved in all 3 of these cautions thus far in this main event. We'll have to check to see what the 141 car of Richard Drake is looking like. He got a nice shot on that 10 car as the leaders were coming through there. Yeah, you can see the damage on the front end of that 141 car. He's got it on the right front bumper. Looks like a little bit on the left front as well. John Fitzpatrick collected damage from that last week's winner. Just talking about him. So, man, oh man, dramatic turn here for some of these front runners as Brady Creamer can't get his legs underneath of him in this feature.
And while we have a second, I want to thank the viewers that are watching. It's a jam-packed house watching this for us on YouTube as well as on Vidane TV on Facebook. Had a couple quick questions of what happened to Cody Fink. Cody Fink got taken out in his Conti race, unfortunately, so he is not in this event. If you are watching, if you're new to Vidane TV, go ahead and hit that like or subscribe button. If you're on the Facebook page, hit the like button. Go ahead and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We have 6 races for you this weekend. We call races Monday nights, Wednesday nights, every night so far except Tuesdays. That may be changing, so be sure to do so. And we got to give a big shout out to AWS Roofing out of Edgewater, Florida. They have become an official sponsor of Vidane TV. They have been they've been voted the best roofing company in Florida and have been in business now for over 30 years. So that's in Edgewater, Florida, near the New Smyrna Beach area. So if you need some roof work, AWS Roofing, go like them on Facebook and they'll get the job done for you. Paul, what do you got for us?
Yeah, we just went through and looked at the replay there. Took a quick look at it at the from the blimp cam, and you saw the 10 car just kind of got around. Sat in that upper racing group for at least half a lap, 3/4 of a lap, almost a full lap. A lot of guys got a piece of them. So a tough break for a lot of these drivers, a lot of these lead lap drivers, a lot of damage on these cars because of that 10 car not getting off the track right away. So you know, wonder if Tim Terry is going to throw a penalty at the 10 car, or maybe give him a little bit of a warning. He's definitely going to be restarting in the back if he even makes it out down the track. And no, it looks like he's still sitting at the end of pit road trying to bang out some of the virtual damage on that car.
You know, we've seen a lot of action from these guys the last few weeks here, as well as some of these guys we're familiar with from other leagues. And they're all competitors. They all want to race hard. They're all really sick of riding around under caution because that's what majority of it has been all night. So we are back doubled up here at New Smyrna Speedway. The pace car has exited the track, and we are green. Keith McClellan gets that whole shot again on the 75 of Mike Alexander, heading down into 1 and 2. And now the 3 of Brett Suggs and Matthew Barkhouse following out top through 3rd and 4th. And then your top 5, Ricky Arbo is able to conceal in that top 5 position. And then it's just calamity further back, guys.
I noticed, Wes, that the number 15 of Matthew Barkhouse did kiss the wall a little bit. That's how he's now falling back to 4th place. Look at that double wide racing. We've got the 78 Fitzpatrick, Drake, also Travis Roma, the odd man out on the outside. You can see Danny Chisholm, the 87, the 5 also making their way into this battle. So after the top 5, fellas, it's really starting to scramble up there in turn 1 and 2. Chisholm trying to look underneath last week's winner, previous winner here for the Petty Esports Series, the 78 of John Fitzpatrick. As Fitzpatrick's on the bottom with Travis Roma working that outside lane. He goes around the 78, followed up at the number 87.
Chisholm will move into that position. The number 5 machine of
Wrecking the back, boys. Wrecking the back, boys. The 12 and the 71 have gotten together. No surprise there. The Chris Ewing's in a wreck, and he has now parked it on the top of 1 and 2 and has
Get him out of here.
He has disconnected. He said, "All right, that's it. No more pinball for me."
Yeah, it's like I mentioned, it's kind of the usual suspects today for all the crashes that we've had. As we'll bring a replay up in the moment. Oh, more wrecks? Great.
Yep, the 88 of Caden Tufts, he just brought it back onto the track in turn 3 in middle of traffic. Now he's getting beat up. He's banging it off the wall coming off of turn 4 as he just pulled his car right up in front of traffic. So I think we're seeing definitely a difference in experience and track and car awareness out here.
Yeah, tough go. I mean, you got your leaders up front who are putting on some good racing. We're back following the leaders now here on Vidane TV and Tim's Corner Motorsports. Sydney's Keith McClellan in the number 30 up in front. Mike Alexander, point leader, coming in today, sitting in second. North Carolina driver Brett Suggs in the number 3.
One on his roof! One on his roof! Todd Tufts in the 72 is on his roof going into 1. Comes down the track. Oh, no! No! He collects Ricky Arbro and Brett Suggs!
And Matthew Barkhouse upside down on the bottom of turn 2.
Oh my man, this is bad. This is bad. Like, we're seeing the same faces, but now those same faces now are involving the leaders. At what point do you just drop the hammer and oh boy, not a good look.
Oh, look at that. Brett Suggs hits him, and that hits the number 15. Matthew Barkhouse, as we get the replay fired up. Big question, how the heck did the 72 land on his lid, Paul? And looks like, just kind of checking out the footage where it goes to broadcast, it looked like it started back in turn number 4.
Yeah, you can see the 72 already has some big damage on that car, looking like a modified coming out of here. And you can see he comes out of the corner. He's real tight all the way up towards the wall there. Coming down the front stretch, he just kind of pancakes and drives up the wall right at the start-finish line. Flips him up on his lid, sparks flying everywhere. No control over that car. You can turn the steering wheel as much as you want. When you're on your lid like that, there you see the 3 car who was running 3rd at the time smashes right into him. Finally, the 72 resets down on pit road, but the damage has already been done. Tough break for the leaders. The top 3, it looks like the leader 30 made it through okay. Mike Alexander made it through okay. But man, just a lot of damage on a lot of these cars, especially the guys that were up front.
No question about that. And you've got the 15 now at the back, I believe. Big damage as well in the number 3 of Brett Suggs. Ricky Arbo now slides up to 3rd in that beautiful double 0. So I think he evaded disaster as well as he could, and you can see some right front damage on the number 3 of Brett Suggs. So damage after clipping the upside down number 72. On lap 32 of 100, want to thank everyone joining us again. Love to see the shout-outs on Facebook and Vidane TV of where you're watching from, who you're rooting for this afternoon, and heck, what's the weather like? Because it's different everywhere here in the Maritimes. It's snowing up in Cape Breton. It's raining here in Halifax. I think it's snowing a little bit in New Brunswick too. So we've got clear skies here, at least in New Smyrna, virtually on iRacing. And Sydney's Keith McClellan in the number 30, still up in front. He has led every single lap.
All right, the 15 is back on the track of Matthew Barkhouse. However, he's going to be coming around to take on to lap 32. The leaders are on lap 33, so he is down a lap. You know, as bad as it says, that's great for Mike Alexander. That gives him a bit of a cushion, but nobody wants to win a championship like that.
And I'm curious too, pit stops. We've seen from 75 Mike Alexander, you don't need to get fresh tires and fill up the car to win a race.
Yeah, we saw pit strategy become a big factor in last week's race too. So if we can get some green flag laps in here, get these tires worn out a little bit, we'll see what happens with pit strategy in the second half of this race. Race control has made the decision to send these guys single file for this restart. I believe the lights are out on top of the iRacing pace truck. Indeed they are. So we'll go green here in just a few seconds. Keith McClellan continuing to lead. He's led all 33 laps thus far. Mike Alexander comfortably sitting in position number 2, and with those issues that just happened to his brother Matthew Barkhouse, that's only going to help his chances at winning this championship. We're back to green flag racing. McClellan gives himself about a 4-car length gap over second place Mike Alexander. Ricky Arbo now takes over position number 3 after those that incident with Barkhouse and Brett Suggs. Danny Chisholm is in position 4. He tries to peek underneath of Arbo for that position 3, but he stays in line for now and will work on it at a later time. We're single file continuing throughout the entire field, but Danny Chisholm, he's making another shot at it. He looks to the inside in turn 3. He's got a fender underneath the quarter panel, pulls up to the door, makes contact with the left rear and spins him around. He corrects it, and he loses it once again. And Ricky Arbo goes around off the bumper of Danny Chisholm. Caution number 4, 5, whatever it is now flies. You can expect the 87 of Danny Chisholm to be sent to the rear.
You know, that wrecking bug is what we're going to call it. We thought it was going to stay mid to backpack, but it looks like it has spread like the corona to the front of the pack, and now everybody's getting that bug where and I think a lot of it's just impatience and frustration. You want to go racing, you don't want to be under caution again, and you end up making mistakes that you typically wouldn't, and that sends Ricky Arbo around and to the back of the field along with Danny Chisholm.
Yeah, that third place position has really been the tough spot because we saw the number 3 of Brett Suggs get wrecked out of the third position earlier on in this race. But you can see right now Chisholm down low, Arbo up high. Chisholm just kind of gets right into the quarter of Arbo, does a great job, almost saves it, spins on down, hits the inside wall down on pit road. Definitely a tough break for Ricky Arbo, running top 3, top 10 all afternoon so far. Very, very passionate sim racer. We saw him win, I believe it was last weekend, with that awesome post-race interview. So tough break, definitely a fan favorite here for Ricky Arbo. Got a lot of damage on that race car. Probably going to come down pit lane, hit it with the virtual hammers, try and bang that thing straight and see what he can get. Probably got about 56, 57 laps to go here once we take the green flag.
All right, so less than halfway to go. We've had about 4 or 5 cautions, I believe. You got that count for us there, Paul?
Yes, I do. As a matter of fact, we've had 5 cautions for a total of 24 laps so far. So that gives us about 10, 14 laps of green flag racing so far. So a lot of these drivers getting some tore up race cars, a lot of repeat offenders here with the wrecks. So hopefully we can get these things straightened out, get the racing cleaned up just a little bit, get some green flag action here at New Smyrna Speedway.
All right, we got some viewers saying that we got Bonnie saying she's watching from Coal Pit Settlement, New Brunswick. So that's awesome. Home track being Petty International Raceway. She says thank you, and we appreciate you watching, Miss Bonnie. Thank you for sitting on down in front of your computer or your mobile device and giving us a show. And Leslie Penny says, let's go 75 and 15. Maybe she's family to those guys. They got some fans here watching as well. Feel free to share the stream as well, Dylan.
Yeah, they got a lot of family watching, all the drivers here, and drivers trying to do a little tutti fruity this side with that mentioning. A little outside of the racing world. Earlier today, learned that rock and roll pioneer.
I'm sorry, wreck in the back, guys, under caution. A 33 of Trevor Smith stop. The 72 of Todd Tuff just knocked the hell out of him. And now the 88 of Caden Tufts is getting pushed to the back because he's warping. The yellow is being delayed. I need another beer.
Yeah, it's 5 o'clock somewhere. This is crazy that people are just crashing into each other. It's been the Petty Raceway eSeries finale wreck fest almost, as we have not had long green flag stretches, and hopefully we get fired up underway, because I know I'm just an announcer here, but I'm getting a little impatient. I want to see some racing, not.
I think it's understandably so for yourself, for all of these fans watching on. I've been paying attention to our Facebook feed. We got 94 people watching on Facebook right now. being streamed on the Tim's Corner Motorsports page. So thank you guys so much for watching. We got the pace truck back onto the pit road. We'll go green here with 58 laps remaining, and Keith McClellan doing what he's been doing. He'll get off to a great start. We now have Mike Alexander in second. John Fitzpatrick moves up to third. Nicholas Noggle, after a wild heat race, having to come through the consolation, he has made his way up to the top 5 and rides in fourth. And the Wood Brothers look-alike, Sean Pierce in 21.
In the back, boys. 72 just hooked the 141. He's able to save it going into 3. The 72 was just a rolling billboard coming off of turn 2 and stacked him up. Wrecked the 141, but we keep going.
You know, we've got what's that? Fury? I don't know what Fury is, but whoever Fury is, they're getting a ton of advertisement with many times the 72 has been crashed or upside down and involved in some type of drama.
Yeah, Fury race cars. And if that was a real Fury race car, that would be one expensive day for all that damage on Todd Tuff's the 72.
Got a big wreck in the back. Big wreck in the back. Matt Janes goes around in the 59. Caution is out. Matt Janes in the monster Toyota Camry goes around in the back. He gets a little bit of help from the 33 of Trevor Smith. He goes around in 1 and 2, and we have our 6th caution of the night.
Yeah, just rewinding here, the AWS Roofing Instant Replay. Going to take a quick look here at that number 59 Monster Machine. You can see he heads on down there 2x2 in front of him. See, he gets spun around by the 33. 33 gets up in that left corner panel, says, hey, how you doing? I'm going to send you down here to the inside wall. Let me know how the view looks down there. A couple of fans standing there in the infield, so that's kind of cool to see those guys there, even though they're virtual. But then you see the leader at 30 almost gets a big piece of the back of that 59 Monster Machine. Luckily, he was able to get on the binder, slow that car down. No harm, no foul, but lots and lots and lots of bent sheet metal on that number 59. So tough break for him. Gets spun around by the 33. You got to figure that's going to be a penalty, but it doesn't really much matter because Trevor Smith is being scored currently. Looks like 17 laps down. So tough break to get spun around. Even tougher break to get spun around by a lap car. Hopefully these guys can get it straightened out, pointed in the right direction, keep the rubbers on the ground, and get some green flag racing just about halfway once we get done with this caution here.
Been a slow go for this halfway point, I'll tell you, as most of the laps have been raced under caution. But that number 30, that Bud Light machine, Keith McClellan, has stayed in front the entire time. And Magic Mike, 75, Mike Alexander, keeping that second position. That's all he has to do to claim the points championship for this Petty International Raceway eSports series. And last week's winner, John Fitzpatrick in the 78, he's got a lot of damage on the front of that Canada machine. That Maple Leaf's looking a little torn up, but still there's a lot of horsepower underneath. And we've also got Nicholas Noggle, who, Kyle, you mentioned, he's had a heck of a day so far, raced his way through the consolation races. And the driver who's kept his nose clean the entire time, 21, Sean Pierce, Pro Stock racer. So a few Pro Stock racers mixed in the top 5 here, and Sean's 21, looking pretty good from above here.
I wouldn't sleep on that 21 of Sean Pierce. He's been kind of quiet all day, but he's been really consistent. He did qualify through his heat race, so he got himself a pretty nice starting position for this feature event, and he's survived the chaos and is currently running in position number 5, so we'll have to keep an eye on him to see how well he's able to do here in the second half of the race, but so far so good. Rounding out the top 10, we've got the number 5 machine of Craig Tully in 6th, Mark Williams is 7th in the 42 car, Travis Roma in position number 8 in his 38 car, John Kane's 35 is 9th, and TJ Medor in the 128 car rounding out the top 10.
All right, so if you are Mike Alexander, you have a huge comfortability bubble there. The guy closest to you in points is on. He's back on the lead lap, but he's so far back and he's got a lot of damage. You just don't push it here. If I'm Mike, back in 17th is Matthew Barkhouse. If you push it, you could really cost yourself a championship. Matthew Barkhouse was able to get back on the lead lap, even though he was involved in an earlier incident. Even though he's so far back, if you make a mistake and you get taken out of the race, that's going to open the door wide open. As we are back, green flag racing, that gives Keith McClellan a big jump. And Alexander actually gave him a lot of room there. You can tell he's really not pushing it. As Noggle, however, is pushing it in that 08. He wants that third position from the 78 of John Fitzpatrick. Coming through 3 and 4, he closes in there bumper to bumper with the 21 in tow.
Nicholas Noggle has won here in New Smyrna. I'm sure he'd love to get a little victory this afternoon. iRacing version of New Smyrna. He was the Charlottetown, Prince Edward Islands. John Fitzpatrick in the 78. There's Craig Tully in the number 5, that old Levi Garrett scheme from back in the day, and he's kind of hanging back there in the 6th position. Sean Pierce in the 21's in 5th. And oh, look at that. We got a pass now. Nicholas Noggle, now Sean Pierce trying to go underneath the number 78 of Fitzpatrick. A little change of position for number 3, and now Nicholas Noggle in the 08 will get past the 78. Now he's looking at the 75, Mike Alexander, in front of him.
So Noggle moves his way up to position number 3, continuing the charge to the front of the field. That puts John Fitzpatrick back to 4th. Sean Pierce all over the back bumper. He tried to fit through the door that Noggle opened, but Fitzpatrick was able to slam it shut before he could walk through, and has a mirror full of 21 now. If we look back up front here, gentlemen, I believe Mike Alexander is actually starting to close in on our race leader, Keith McClellan. It looks like this is the closest that they have been thus far, now that we're getting a few green flag laps. And Mike Alexander, as we've mentioned, he's in a very good position in the points. He has both Matthew Barkhouse and Brett Suggs running 14th and 15th, so they're nowhere close to being able to take over his points lead. Keith McClellan actually entered this race in position number 4, but only finishing 1 spot ahead of him at the moment. It's not going to be enough for Mike Alexander to lose that points lead. If McClellan were to win this championship, he would need some type of issue for the 75 to happen right now. McClellan's doing everything that he needs to. He's currently in the lead. He's led the whole way, but with points leader Mike Alexander running position number 2, there's no way he's going to win it with as good as that 75 has been today.
Yeah, that 75 is going to have to get caught up into something, and you know Mike knows that as well, so I don't expect to see him push the issue for the lead. If the door opens, I'm sure he'll take it, but I can't see him getting super aggressive, knowing what is on the line and what needs to be done. Top 2 locks him in. He's locked in right now. Even with all the calamity that's going on, he's locked in no matter what, where he finishes. If he finishes second, doesn't matter what ground Matthew Barkhouse makes up. Speaking of that, he's worked his way all the way back up to 12th with Brett Suggs in tow. But it doesn't matter how far up he gets. As long as he's in that top 2, he will move on.
Yeah, watching that lead battle, fellas, is it bad that I'm starting to kind of grip my my table a bit, trying to watch the leaders go around slower cars? I'm a bit worried for them as they've got to go around the slower cars on the track. Nicholas Noggle was also starting to really close in on the 75 of Mike Alexander. As you can see, second in points coming in this afternoon.
Caution,
and also
big
third
wreck.
Points.
Got us a big wreck, boys.
Who's
Guess
involved
who?
this time?
Guess who?
12? 72?
Close, 69, Dawson Noble, the other car that's been in every single incident. He and the 10 get involved in it as the 69 got tight off of turn 4 and collect Brady Kramer, who Kramer just kind of parked it, and 69 slid across the front stretch and gave the admins no choice but to throw our 7th, 8th caution of the day. But who's counting?
Well, I know Paul Strickland is for sure. Showtime, show us what happened.
Yeah, it was. I think it was last week. Every time we switched over to a caution or a replay, I got a nickel. I don't know if we're doing that today, but man, oh man, AWS Roofing getting a little bit of exposure here as they're sponsoring our instant replay here on Vidane TV. Take a quick peek, see what's going on. You can see already the 69 was up high and the 10 car was down low, and the 69, he's done that a couple of times throughout the heats, the consies, and the feature race. Just tight off a 4, slaps that wall, and just collects the driver that's on the inside of him. Just kind of playing ping pong just a little bit. Didn't really get any help. Just a tight race car hits up, smacks the crap out of that wall, and collects the 10. A lot of cars lucky to be running up towards that wall because the 69 came down kind of towards the grass just a bit. Wasn't able to hit any of those lead lap cars, so that's definitely a good thing. You see the 30 right behind him. That's the current leader, Keith McClellan. So tough break for this the 69 machine. Looks like he has disconnected from the server, or he was maybe asked to disconnect, but no longer being scored here in this race.
Either way, the crowd just went wild.
I can hear them all the way over here, guys.
I think they're ready to go home. they want to see some green flag racing, I'll tell you that. And New Smyrna's known for that, man. If you're somebody that causes a lot of accidents, you're causing a lot of calamity, once you finally get parked, the crowd will let you know their appreciation of that call.
Do they sing na 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 hey hey goodbye?
No, it's a lot of offensive words that I can't say on stream and tell you to where to go, and they don't mean where the last lap saloon is here. They tell you somewhere else to go.
Ah, okay, I get you. So under 8th, 9th caution, 65 in the books. 100 laps on the scoreboard here, but again, we've raced most of them under caution. But Keith McClellan in the 30s held that lead the entire time, a little easier today. And Nicholas Noggle is now going to be on that inside lane for this restart. I'm wondering if he's going to be able to get around the 75 of Alexander in turn number 1.
Yeah, we're going to go back to double file restart, double file for this restart. We'll have 34 laps to go once the green flag flies once again. We've seen how fast Noggle has been in this feature race. He's been looking really sporty, so now that he's got an opportunity to slide underneath Mikey Alexander, we'll see if he's able to do so and what he can accomplish with it. Pace truck to pit road. McClellan stomps the gas, and here we go. And look at Noggle. He's right underneath of Mike Alexander already. McClellan looks like he may be. No, he's not. Look at Mike Alexander rip the top line. He's got the advantage coming off of turn number 2. Has the rubber been built up high enough for him to take the lead? He's got it. Will he drop down? Keith McClellan loses the lead for the first time this afternoon. Mike Alexander leads his first lap. Your points leader is out front.
He said, I'm not taking any chance. This race is getting crazy. I want to be where nobody else is, and that is at the point, and he is pulling away. As the caution is out one more time, it is again, oh, Lord, the 21 of Sean Pierce, man, having such a good run. He is involved. That's tough break for the 21. He got a little loose coming off of turn 2, and as expected, none of these guys know how to use a brake pedal and just pile in behind him, unfortunately.
He actually got a shot from the back end of Travis Roma. Travis Roma got into him going into turn number 1, knocked him sideways. It looked like he was going to save it, and I don't know if maybe he got – I think he does save it, but then just the angle that the car was at coming off at turn number 2, it slid out from underneath him and spins it out right in front of Travis Roma. Roma gets collected. Craig Tully gets a piece of it in the 5 car. Nice check up there by the 35 of John Kane. He's able to slow up and miss it. We'll send it up to the replay booth now to Paul so we can give you guys a visual of what exactly happened there.
Yeah, you can see we're actually looking at it in slow motion. Came out of 4 there. A little bit of a wiggle from Nick Noggle, the 21 car, all the way down on that yellow line. And as he kind of comes up into turn number 1 here, 78 seems to check up just a bit. 21 gets hard on the brakes. As he does that, 38 gives him a little bit of a tap. Looks like he almost saves it here in the 21 car. And just overcorrects it just a bit and sends himself right on around, spins right across the nose of the 38, and that slows him down enough to where he gets a big boot from the 5, and then the 5 gets the other boot up into the back end of the 21 car. Kind of rests down there on the grass, the inside wall on the back stretch, waving to the fans. I'm sure he's using all 5 fingers, but tough break for the 21 car.
I believe we had Tim Terry popped in. Tim, did you have an update for us?
Yeah, I was actually just about to say this in the server to the drivers. We're going to give these guys one more chance to get double file restarts done. If they wreck again by lap probably 80, 85-ish, it'll be single file the rest of the.
So what is your thoughts right now? You're seeing Mike Alexander, your points leader. All he needs is second, but he powers his way to the lead there. An aggressive move we didn't expect to see. Great battle in the front, and we also have Matthew Barkhouse back in the top 8. There's still a little bit of drama for the points.
Yeah, there is a little bit. It's Mike Alexander's race to lose, not only on the racetrack, but also in the point standings. Feel bad for Brett and Matthew. They got tangled up in a wreck down in turn 1 with the car on its roof. And laws of physics, we figured it would stay up the racetrack instead of tumbling down the racetrack, but it didn't. We had to throw the yellow, and those guys couldn't get around in time. So feel bad. There's nothing much we can do about it, but they're still in this race trying to claw their way back. We're double file, getting ready to go, and hopefully this isn't the last double file restart, as long as they can get, looks like 15 laps in clean. We'll give them a go.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was Tim Terry. He's going to get back into his administration booth, and he's going to call these guys to the finish here as we are coming close to 3/4 down, and just a quarter to go as the Daytona Dodge Pace Truck heads down pit road, and we are off. Mike Alexander fires, and we are back green here at New Smyrna Speedway, and the battle for second is on. Nick Noggle goes through the door that Mike opened up, trying to work underneath the 30 of McClellan. He's able to do so. New second place sitter, Nick Noggle in the 08, and the battle is now for 4th from the Danny Chisholm, working the top shelf on John Fitzpatrick.
Danny Chisholm trying to go around the 78. Danny's got a lot of damage. Number 7, but he has worked his way back up near the top 5 side by side on the backstretch. And there's Matthew Barkhouse. Where did he come from after being taken out earlier? Another caution on the track, boys.
Ah, boy, oh boy, oh boy.
Oh boy.
I'm trying to see who exactly was involved in that. There's no clear car that's involved. The car further.
Take a wild guess, Wes.
Ah, man. Well, the 69's no longer in the race, is he? I'm not sure on this one.
I'll give you a hint. Fury Race Cars is going to get another great advertisement.
Oh boy.
That would be the 72 car of Todd Tufts, 23rd place, currently driving around 12 laps down, and he's facing the wrong way on the front straightaway. Caution flag flies once again. Let's see here. From my view, it kind of looks like he chops the nose of the 141, gets himself sideways. Ricky Arbo, nowhere for him really to go. So once again, Todd Tufts having a tough time figuring out how to drive these super late models at New Smyrna Speedway.
Well said there, Kyle. We're taking a look at the slow motion replay of the number 72. You can see there's a gaggle of cars in front of him, and he heads on down into turn number 1. See, the 46 car moves up just a bit. A little bit of a blinking issue with the 10 car right there. I don't believe that was any part of the issue. Well, maybe it was. You can see the 10 car kind of comes down. No contact there, so that's good news. 72 still kind of moving top. This is one of the slowest slow action replays, I think, ever. So we see a little bit of 3-wide action. The 10 car comes down. The 141 stays right there on the yellow line. And the 72 still up in that second groove. And it looks like he's just going to kind of lose it by himself just a bit. Gets a little bit of an assist there from the 141. Turns it back down into the 141. Collects him. Big damage into the wall. Ricky Arbo, a winner from a few races past, he gets collected as well. It looks like the 72 is done, though. He is parked on pit road. No more Fury cautions here this afternoon at New Smyrna Speedway.
He was by race administration. He was that was his third caused caution, so he has been disqualified for the remainder of the race. That's got to be frustrating for the guys up front, man. You got a driver 12 laps down, still putzing around out there, and brings out another caution to it does. It affects these guys' race, as we just heard from Tim Terry. No more double file restarts. We're going to stay single file for the remainder of this thing, and that sucks for those guys up front. We saw some battling, some changing of positions in the top 5 based off of those double file restarts, and now we're going to go single file. That'll make it tougher for those guys to gain positions.
Our chances of going green to the end just improved greatly. And viewers, I'm not meaning to be mean, but I think it's all what we're thinking. And here at Vidane TV, we're not exactly politically correct. We're going to state the obvious if we need to. And some of these drivers, they just weren't cutting it out for this. So maybe a little bit of practice would have helped a little bit more, or it just wasn't their night. And when it's not your night, you just got to know it sometime and know when to hold them and know when to fold them. And it was probably best he folded them. And the green flag is out for Mike Alexander. Again, single file restart here, as they stay pretty widened out here. They're not really on each other too bad. A little bit in the back as Arbo's trying to make up some spots as quick as he can to get the best finish he can before these next 19 laps have completed. And here we go, and look who is already up to the 7th position, just working his way up throughout the field is Brett Suggs, and in tow, he's right behind Matthew Barkhouse. We've seen him get into a bad accident where the leaders were involved with a back car in the back wrecking, not getting off the track. These guys are looking at a top 5 possibly. Noggle gets a bump from the 30 of McClellan. That opens up the door for Chisholm. Chisholm on the outside of the 30, working the top shelf, and he'll take that position.
This is exactly what Mike Alexander wants to see. All those drivers scrambling to get positions as he starts to pull away from Nicholas Noggle, and Danny Boy Chisholm up to 3rd position now, passes the 30 of McClellan. McClellan falls back to 4th. Nicholas Noggle and Danny Chisholm. If they want to try and get up to Mike Alexander, they got to start working together here, because if they're going to be going side by side, and Barkhouse gets turned by the 3 in turn number 4.
Matthew Barkhouse, he saves it. Brett Suggs and Matthew Barkhouse make contact. They keep it straight. Will stay green flag. Great save by Barkhouse. Awesome job by Suggs by helping him out. But it doesn't matter. The caution flag flies once again.
And that's a big one, guys. The entire backstretch is blocked. Entire backstretch is blocked, ladies and gentlemen. the 128 of TJ Medor is involved. I know that for sure. This is the second or third time this has happened. And looks like Arbo was involved. We know he's not going to be happy. I see his chat has been disabled, and that's probably a good call. Oh, I see why. To 33 said, hey, guess what? I'm going to be the next Natalie Decker. Here's my shot at it. Here's my ARCA break. Trevor Smith just says, break for what? Pounds into the back of Arbo to get him into it. We're seeing the best of the best here tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Like, your IQ doesn't have to be above your shoe size to know to hit the brake there. I don't understand that. Well, everybody got a great view of that instant replay. We at least got to hear you there, Paul. Paul had a little bit of a technical difficulty through that instant replay, but you guys silently got to see what the definition of ARCA brake is. You might hear that through the iRacing server. The ARCA brake is a term that is known where if there's a big accident in the back and these drivers think they're Colt Trickle or Superman or invincible, and they try to go through it without slowing down. And ultimately, they wreck themselves and somebody else, looking like the dunce of the race. And the dunce cap goes on to the 33 as he gave you guys a great showcase to Trevor Smith of the definition of ARCA brake. Thank you, Trevor, for helping us out with that.
Take one more look at the instant replay now that I've got my thingy unchecked, and you can actually hear me talk out there in internet land.
Unchecked?
My thingy. And you can see he lets off the throttle just a bit, but really should have been hard on that brake pedal. You see he hits just about every car in that pack, goes up, bangs up on the wall. So tough break. Well, tough break. It should have been a break. Unfortunately, it was not.
Hit the pace car. Hit the pace car.
Hey, what?
Some of those people were like, what is he talking about? The non-Days of Thunder fans. That's the only thing that hasn't been hit tonight, Dylan, is the pace car and the flag man.
I'm sorry, if you're a race fan, you've never seen Days of Thunder, do that after the Norks Wilkesboro race coming. Green flag is back out. Oh, McLennan did not have a good start. They stacking up a little bit behind them, but they're back single file racing. Mike Alexander again. In fact, no single file racing with the 30 and the 78 and the 15 and the 3. They're all bunched up here as we refire once again after another big pileup. Mike Alexander, Magic Mike, has the lead. He's had it for about 20 laps now, and he's not looking bad.
That battle now that will single file out. Fitzpatrick, McClellan, Barkhouse, and Brett Suggs. I wanted to make mention during that last green flag run that we have the entirety of our top 5 in points up in the top 10 running order, but it doesn't really matter too much with the 75 leading this race. He's doing everything he needs to and then some. He's trying to steal all the glory here today with the victory. He's only got 8 more laps to do it. He's got a nice advantage over Nicholas Noggle. Danny Chisholm trying to reel himself in. Chisholm's had to fight his way back through some adversity today, as well as Noggle. The only one that's really had true perfection is Mike Alexander. Keith McClellan's had himself a really good day too, but he's starting to slip back, possibly wearing out the tires a little bit worse than some of his competition has. But coming to 6 laps to go here, Wes. Mike Alexander looking strong. The gap not really changing to Noggle.
The 35 wrecks hard in the 1 and 2. The 21 gave him the punt. John Kane in 35 goes around. He's able to save it. Craig Tolley went around last lap. He was able to save it. You can see race control's not throwing cautions unless the track is blocked. I think they want to see the end of this race as well here. As Dylan, we are coming to 5 to go this time by for our leader, Mike Alexander.
Magic Mike, now you see him, now you don't. He is in front of Nicholas Noggle, and Nicholas, he's just not able to close in enough, and I don't think he's going to have enough time, as there probably won't be a lot of slower cars in front of the 75. The final Petty International eSports Series race this afternoon at New Smyrna with 4 laps to go for Mike Alexander, Mr. Consistency. He's got so many nicknames because he's always at the front by the end of the race, whether he has a bad call in the pits, whether he was taken out, or he's just plain dominating this race with 3.
The gap continues to increase. It is now just under 3/4 of a second. John Kane will get out of the way, let Alexander cycle his way back around, and it looks like the gap might have actually closed that time by, but still, Nicholas Nogle's got a lot to do if he's going to reel him in. Popsicle sticks fly in the air. We've got 2 laps of racing remaining. The gap does shrink by a little over 1/10 of a second, but it's still 6/10 large between these top 2. Mike Alexander has been the model of just absolute perfection today. Qualifying position number 2, starting on that outside pole, went straight to this feature event. He made a fantastic outside move to take over the race lead from Keith McClellan and has not looked back since. Half a lap to go. It is going to be all the glory to the 75. Not only will he win this championship, he will win the race. The Petty International Raceway eSeries champion Mike Alexander closes off the season with a victory over Nicholas Noggle. Danny Chisholm will pick up the 3rd position, John Fitzpatrick 4th, and Keith McClellan, after leading the majority of this race, falls back to a 5th place position. Your champion's brother, Matthew Barkhouse, will finish in 6th, Brett Suggs 7th, Mark Williams in 8th, Ricky Arbo recovers for a 9th place finish, and Todd Cousins in the 2 machine will round out your top 10 finishers.
What a race. What a season for Mike Alexander. Almost perfect throughout the entire season. Mike Alexander, again, doubling down today, not only winning this 100-lapper, but winning the championship over his brother, Matthew Barkhouse. Mike Alexander is a class guy on and off the track. I can't think of a more deserving driver this season, as he has shown us how to get it done. So Mike Alexander is going to celebrate here on the front stretch, and here momentarily we're going to try to get a word with him as well as our top 3, and possibly a word with Matthew Barkhouse as well if we get an opportunity with him finishing 2nd there in points, as you see Alexander park it in the Hampton Inn victory lane here at New Smyrna Speedway.
Just solid, consistent runs again. He didn't necessarily have to win every race, as we had a different race winner for every race. Danny Chisholm won race number 1. John Fitzpatrick won last weekend, and right now we have the 75 winning this afternoon, getting in front of the number 30 on a restart. Beautiful outside row restart as he pulled away from the 78. He didn't look back after that, guys. So Mike Alexander, calm, cool, and collected, able to conserve that car, gets in victory lane, and wins a championship. Win some hardware as well, as there's actual physical trophies going to be mailed out, I assume. And if Mike chooses to race at Petty International Raceway coming up this race season, he's going to get some pit passes for his crew.
You know, free stuff is always cool, especially pit passes, no matter what track you're at. When you get to go down there and interact with the drivers, it's always fun. Tim Terry, we have you here at the season finale. It's been a fun, short little series here, and Mike Alexander be able to make it dang near perfect here, Tim.
Yeah, and I'm just trying to tabulate the unofficial points. I believe obviously Mike Alexander is your champion. Matthew Barkhouse and Keith McClellan, unofficially your top 3. But we'll go through and tabulate all the points and everything else afterwards. I've got to run. There's a little thing on Fox today for the Pro Invitational, so I got to go run and do that. I believe you have our 2nd place finisher here, Wes, and you're familiar with this guy.
Absolutely am. Nicholas Noggle. We call a couple different races, including the new Smyrna World Series of e-racing, and you get it done here tonight with Petty getting a runner-up finish, but not without a little bit of drama, a little bit of bumping and banging. You ended up on your roof in your heat race, able to battle back up. Talk to us about your night tonight.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of started off with an unfortunate series of events. I mean, we went out in there and qualified, and I turned like a 337, but apparently I just touched the wall just enough for it to not count, so it put us back in like 20th qualifying spot. And then I thought, okay, we're really good here. We'll run up through the heats, and then we got turned going down the front stretch and on our roof in the heat, and so we had to start very near the rear in the consi, and I just knew that we had a good enough car if we kept it clean to race up right to the front.
Now, knowing what was on the line here tonight, knowing that you had to get the best finish you could, but also knowing what Mike Alexander was racing for tonight, did that change at all the way that you raced him?
Nah, at heart, I'm a race car driver. I never really believed in points racing. When I go to every race, the plan is to go up front and try and win the thing. So I mean, it's unfortunate that's their deal if they want to pay attention to the points and drive that way. But honestly, we race so many different places that you just go just to win the race and not points.
That is the perfect answer. And anybody you would like to thank while we have you here?
Yeah, I mean, I got to thank my sponsors, Bricon, my father, my mother, all of them. I mean, outside of the sim, they make it happen. They're the reasons that we get to race where we get to race, get to go to lovely New Smyrna every February and turn a bunch of laps, and I love it every year.
All right, Nick. It was fun having you here. If we don't see you until before then, I'll see you Wednesday night at the New Smyrna Series World Series E-Racing.
Sounds good. Let's go try and do it again.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was Nick Inago, and I believe with second place right now is Kyle Young. He's with Danny Chisholm. Kyle.
Well, you just spoke with second place. I'm here with third place, Danny.
Third place. I'm sorry.
Danny, a great way for you to wrap this thing up. Finishing in third place, started back in 11th. We saw a lot of attrition, a lot of carnage, a lot of stress, I think, for most guys. But you're able to wrap it up on the bottom of the podium to finish up this Petty International Raceway E-Series.
Yeah, it was good. It was good to get a good finish there and kind of finish this deal out. I was hoping maybe to have a battle there with Mike for the championship, but after our troubles with the last race, it kind of put us on the outside looking in. And Mike did a really, really good job and was just able to kind of clean up this whole deal. It was pretty nice racing against class acts like that.
Lots of great talent throughout this field. To get a win earlier, you picked up the win a couple weeks ago to kick this series off. Backing it up here tonight with a third place run. You came in with a top 5 points position for this series. Not exactly. I believe we had an unofficial on the top 3. Not exactly sure where you'll end up in the points series, but as an overall effort for this Petty International Raceway E-Series, walk us through your entire season. I know it was just a 3-race season, but everything that you experienced with this event.
Yeah, I mean, I put a lot of practice in there for the first race and tried to really come out strong. And I raced a lot behind Mike there for that first race and was able to pull it out on a final restart. And that was a great deal, being able to kind of start it off strong. I bring some momentum into the final couple races. And then the last race there at Five Flags, we had a couple issues, just got caught up in some wrecks, had to start near the back and everything. And I think we were still able to salvage, I think, 11th place finish or something like that. And it didn't put us too far out, but it was going to have to be a pretty serious points implications there if we were able to bring it home and get the championship.
Danny, we know even in the sim racing world, you can't do it alone. There's a lot of preparation work that needs to be done. The mic is yours. Shout out time. Anybody you want to thank for the third place?
Yeah, I guess I'd first like to thank everybody at Corey Hall Racing, Scott Hall and Corey Hall. They helped me out a lot. I mean, they set up my Legend Car week in, week out, and basically teach me everything that I know about that kind of style of racing. And they really just do a lot for me. I also got to thank Scott McLean, who supplied the car for me last year and has really done a lot for me in that perspective. Helped me out with getting me a ride and getting me a place to go and a car to race at the racetrack. And then I got to really thank everyone at King Racing, Andrew Hicken, Judy, and Roy. They helped me out a lot, teaching me different things and learning more about how this whole racing world works. And lastly, I just want to thank my mom and my dad. They gave me everything that I've got and couldn't do it without them.
That's your third place finisher, Danny Chisholm. He entered today's feature event 5th place in the points. He was only 1 point behind Keith McClellan. Not exactly sure where specifically he'll end up in the points, but we know for a fact that he will be somewhere inside that top 5. Danny, congratulations on the P3. We'll send it now down to Dylan Langell, who has made his way to the front stretch in victory lane. Not only your race winner, but your series champion, Mike Alexander, stealing all the glory tonight. And plenty of gold and trophies down there with you, Dylan.
You got her, buddy. And it was an easy day at the office thing for Magic Mike Alexander. Mike, can you hear us?
I got you, bud.
Yeah, was it an easy day for you? You qualified on the front row, didn't have to do the heat races. You stayed in the top two the entire time, and then you eventually got past Keith in the 30 on that restart on the outside. Take us through today's race, and congratulations as well for winning the Petty International Raceway eSeries.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, no, we were just this business as usual. We were just trying to, take it easy, save our tires, save some fuel because it would have been close again if it had to run green. Thankfully, we got a bunch of yellows there, and that didn't really become a factor. But just trying to save the car for the end and make sure I got something to race with at the end of the race, last 30 laps.
Do you kind of dread all the cautions, or as you're the lead, thankful that that's happening, you're not burning out your car?
Well, in tonight it was a good thing because, like I said, we would have been pretty short on fuel if it had to run green or if we hadn't got so many yellows. So that would have probably changed the race a bit if we would have had to come down pit lane. But I was pretty happy that we didn't have to come down. I like staying on the track now.
You had a little bit of everything. The first race, it was a pit stop that sent you to the back, but you got back in the top 5 again. Then last weekend, you finished second at 5 flags. Today, you get the win. What was your experience with this little eSeries?
It was a lot of fun. I mean, there's a lot of good guys in here, and it's fun to race with all the guys that you know and you see. You normally see this time of year, and we're all kind of all self-isolated, but it's cool to actually get out here and talk to them and race with those guys,
So with this win, you're going to get some hardware. I believe you're going to get some pit passes as well. I don't know if I've actually asked you this question. I've asked some other drivers. Let's say COVID-19 clears up sooner than later. What's your plans for 2020, and are you going to be planning to race at Petty a bunch?
Yeah, we're putting the sportsman car together. We're just kind of waiting to see what happens. We'll take it by year. If it opens up, we'll for sure be racing, but keeping our fingers crossed.
You had a lot of family members, a lot of friends watching. Anybody you want to give a shout out to? And of course, your great sponsors on your car as well.
Yeah, I just want to thank the guys over at Rev Racing, Keith and Matt, and Ronnie and Mike. We all have a good time, and it's a big party in our Discord. But our Kinsman's, CPM, Port City Race Cars, CRF. That's pretty much it.
And also, how does it feel that you and your brother finished top 2 in points 1-2? That's got to be pretty special as well.
Yeah, it's pretty neat. Matt's a great driver, and it's been fun to watch him. Turn into the driver he is today. When he started, he wasn't very good, and I've watched him progress, and he's turned into a really good driver.
I think Matthew's in the chat and probably heard that. Was that a little dig saying he wasn't good, or is that just the honest?
No, that's the honest truth.
Good stuff.
Mess at one point.
Yeah, we actually got Matthew in here, so we might as well just chat with both of you. Matthew, tough go at the beginning, taken out after a car landed on its lid and Brett came down a little bit and clipped you, but you got back up in the top 5 again and you finished second in the points. How was the racing today here in New Smyrna?
Yeah, no, that was just a racing deal there too, and I appreciate Brett. He was giving me room after that. We didn't push each other too hard coming up through and just made a race of it. But all in all, I wasn't expecting to kind of get back up there, but because if you mind your P's and Q's, a lot of these guys are still learning because they're new to the game, and you just kind of make your moves and feel it's safe, and it happened to pay out here tonight.
So how was your experience with iRacing? You kind of had similar finishes to your brother. You were up at the front for the first race at USA International. We had a big pile up last weekend at 5 flags, and again, another wreck for you. But you got to the top 5 mostly every race, and it proved with a second place finish in the points.
Yeah, no, in all, I really thank Petty for doing this. It brings out a lot of competitiveness in us. It shows it doesn't matter what division of racing you're in, whether it's a 4-cylinder or a pro stock. You have the same drive to want to win, and that kind of gives us a nice even playing field, But a lot of fun. Tim does a great job. You guys make it fun for all of us to watch, so our friends and family can get behind and do something, and it makes for a great time.
Yeah, we have a lot of fun of announcing you too. I know you race full time at Scotia Speed World. Since this is a Petty Raceway eSeries, do you plan going up to Petty if everything gets lifted relative?
Yeah, no, that's the plans. Is I was starting to get a sportsman car ready to race with Mike, so we can keep the battle going on from iRacing to the real track and kind of pick and choose the races. But we hope the COVID-19 kind of stays away, so we get to have a little bit of fun at the end of the summer too.
Absolutely, buddy. Any family members you want to say hi to, and any sponsors you want to give a shout out to?
All the same people, like in Rev Racing and stuff. same guys there, and then our Kinsman's, Celtic Air, Port City Race Cars. They're all a good group of guys, and the same people, those small companies that are on our cars now, they're the ones that support us when we go racing. So it really helps if we all support the small guys through these tough times.
Well, congratulations to both of you, Mike and Matthew. I mean, brothers and 1, 2 in points. That's got to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, there's no one I'd rather finish second to than Mike out there. So at least we get the 1-2, and Keith, I think he's going to get third. So Rev Racing for top 3 in points.
So are you guys also going to race tonight at
I think that's the plan. We'll kind of see how it goes. I think we're probably a little sweaty after this race. It's a little bit of a nail biter, but we'll see what happens.
Well, go chill out. Go watch the North Wilkesboro race this afternoon, and we'll see you later.
All right, thanks, guys.
Thank you, Matt, and thank you, Mike, and congratulations again, buddy.
Thanks, Tom.
Well, there you go, guys. That's our top 2 in points, and we also heard that their other teammate, Keith McClellan, also finishing third. So Rev Racing, that's stable, claiming the top 3 in points, and that's a good effort from that team.
Yeah, absolutely. Those guys have shown their strength throughout the entirety of this 3-race mini-series, and it's really no surprise to see them come out on top. I know from my own personal past, this is not the first time that I've been exposed to Mike and Matthew, so to continue to see them being successful here in the iRacing world is no surprise. Of course, I don't get to enjoy the real-world successes of these guys, but I know you do, Dylan, and it sounds like the talents transfer over pretty well from real world to sim world.
It does, and I've mentioned too, it's super cool to see different drivers of different classes all joining together. I mean, Matthew drives a 4-cylinder traditionally at Scotia Speedway, but you heard him, he's going to try and dabble in the sportsman. Mike's driven pretty much everything, and we've had some Bandolero drivers, Legends drivers, Pro Stock drivers all at the front battling today. So it was a good little battle, and I also want to thank Ellen and Wayne Smith from Petty Raceway putting this on. It's been a lot of fun spending the Saturday afternoon doing this. I could be shoveling snow if I lived in Cape Breton, but it's raining here in Halifax, so I'm going to steer clear of all that. And it's been a good time doing this on Vidane TV as well with you, Wes, Paul, Showtime, and the production booth. And, of course, my good buddy Tim Terry putting this on. And all the fans watching love the interaction as we try and have some entertainment on the
And entertaining the masses is what we do here at Vidane TV. Another one in the books here for the Petty Raceway eSeries. Congratulations to Mike Alexander for that championship. Mike wins just about everything he's in, it seems like. If he doesn't win, he's in the top 2. But that's going to wrap it up here at New Smyrna Speedway here for us. But it does not wrap it up here for Vidane TV today, as we've got 2 more races. Count them. 1, 2, 3 o'clock, less than an hour, exactly an hour away. Going to be rejoining the Carter's iRacing series as they kick off their season 2. Same great road racing action there, but different time slot, running a little bit later on in the day. And speaking of later on, 7:30 tonight Eastern time, 8:30 local, Tim's Corner Motorsports. These guys come on back for the trucks. Racing at Bristol, the last great E-Coliseum. Going to be pretty cool to see that race this evening. Tomorrow, 1 o'clock, Hudson Speedway iRacing Group. They're going to be racing at Lanier Speedway once again. Carter's iRacing Series right after that for race number 2, 3 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. So definitely check that out as well. Oh, and that doesn't wrap it up because we got 2 pages of upcoming events now. Tomorrow night, 9 o'clock, East Coast Winter League, SK Modifieds at Stafford Motor Speedway. Getting about 3/4 of the way through that season, so really cool to see those guys. Monday night, we actually just announced that Vidane Racing is going to be pairing up with the Florida Pro Stock Challenge. Going to be running 3 of the Florida tracks for 6 weeks in the trucks, so that's going to be really cool. You'll be able to see that the next 6 Mondays here on Vidane TV. And then Tuesday night, great big show. Really looking forward to this one. The Old Dominion Raceway reunion. A lot of big names, a lot of big drivers, a lot of old timers. Going to be doing probably a 45-minute to an hour pre-show on that Tuesday night, just to kind of shoot the breeze just a little bit with some of the old drivers and some of the younger drivers, new drivers, and some of the faces that you may recognize from Old Dominion Raceway. So it's going to be a cool show. And then Wednesday, the New Smyrna World E-Series of Racing. We're going to be back Wednesday night, 8 o'clock. Edgewater Screens putting on that series. Thursday night, back for the New England, Pennsylvania iRacing Busch North Series. They're going to be racing at South Boston. They're going to be wrapping up that series and then jumping right into an IROC series. And then there you see it next Saturday and Sunday. We've got the Carter's iRacing Series continuing on with their Season 2. Sprinkle in a couple more Tim's Corner Motorsports as we just signed 3 or 4 more deals here with Tim Terry. So we're very, very excited about that. But at this point, we got to leave the track, pack everything up, get on down to the next track, and set up within the next half hour. And I think I'm going to switch from coffee over to a couple of cold Busch lattes because I myself am pretty sweaty, and all I did was push all the buttons and listen to you guys scream into microphones. So great racing action here at Tim's Corner Motorsports. Please be sure to like us on social media, facebook.com/Vidane TV. Search for Vidane TV on YouTube, and be sure to subscribe. Well over 200 subscribers at this point and on our way to superstardom. And also pay attention to both our Facebook and our website, Vidane.net, as we're actually going to have some Vidane TV t-shirts that are going to be for sale here very, very soon. I should be dropping the initial order here this evening, but we will absolutely keep you posted on that. But for myself, I am Showtime Paul Strickland Jr. For Dylan Langell, for Rowdy Wesley Hogue, who had to dip on out to do some dipping on some cars, and Kyle the Kid Young, thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. Come on back, less than an hour, more racing here on Vidane TV as we join the Carter's iRacing Series for Season 2 opener, first race of that series. Thanks so much for joining us. We'll see you in less than an hour.